Hello, everyone!
Hello.
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 I hope we're ready for a late but very much needed D&D session.
Yay.
After not having a session last week, we are back. The party has sailed along the eastern coast of Cholt upon the ship the Good Fortune, and has arrived at the mouth of the great river leading into Mezro, the River Olung. You have sent the ship back to Port Nianzaru to prove to the merchant princes that it can indeed make a voyage undamaged and on its own, and hopefully enter it into the mercenary navy of Port Nianzaru. You have set up camp on the beach, just out of sight of anyone who might be passing from the ocean, using the thick canopy of the jungle as cover. And you've just finished having a long rest after a night camping out rough. During this night, we had a small off-screen side quest for Bulb and Bobbit, which I did not stream. The events of the side quest may come up later, and if they do, I will summarise them, but for now, our audience should just know that Bobbit and Bulb have adventured off-screen during the night, while the rest of the party remained in camp.
Yep, just a nice little wander through the jungle. Nothing bad happened, don't worry about it.
Yes,
All is
nothing,
well.
nothing out of the ordinary.
Nope.
Nothing relevant to the main story of the Death Curse, at the very least. So, here we are. Our story continues as the sun comes up over the horizon, turning the water of Kitchener's Inlet a bright, sparkling pink, and already the tropical heat of the jungle begins to well up around you, and you all emerge from your tents onto the beach on the edge of the jungle, already drenched in sweat, and not quite feeling as if you've slept at all, your skin raw, red and itchy from insect and mosquito bites that have plagued you all night. From your spot on the beach, you can see, peering over through the jungle canopy, the top vine-covered crumbling stone spires of the walls around the city of Mezro, letting you know that your destination is but a short walk through the jungle ahead of you. And so, as you all crawl out of your tents, yawn and stretch and gather in camp, what do you do?
Well, I already removed my curse.
Yep.
So,
Before you went to bed, you removed your curse that the hags placed upon you, and you emerge out onto the beach looking fresh and new, or about as fresh and new as one can be, having slept rough in the Cholton jungle.
Right now, I'm just very happy that my clothes shrunk, so I'm technically wearing shorts instead of pants.
Yes.
I guess Bulb will fly up to a tree and just have a look around while everyone else is waking up.
Yes, sure. Bulb, as you fly up into one of the nearby trees, I would like you to please make a perception check with advantage.
Oh, that I can do. Jesus. Get the nat ones out of the way now.
No.
11.
11. As you perch up on... As you journey a short distance into the jungle, flap your wings and perch up on top of one of the gnarled trees that hangs over the canopy. You peer ahead, squinting your eyes, and you can just make out the outer borders of Mezro. About a half hour to 40-minute walk from your campsite, in the midst of what appears to be a patch of very dense very dense, very wet-looking swampland. In fact, from where you're standing, it appears that the city is half submerged in murky swamp water.
Oh, okay.
Delicious.
Gaining entry to the city would likely require you to either wade through this swamp or either swim or boat past it. And it's at this point you remember that in amongst all of the supplies that the merchant princes supplied you with, they did include a folding canoe.
That's
Oh,
true, but would the folding canoe be able to transport everything that we have with us?
Most likely not everything, but the party at least. You could leave your stuff perhaps here on the beach as, you know, a sort of temporary home base.
Well, as I go back and inform everyone, I do tell them that considering we had to cross a river, I have stocked Water Walk, which would give 10 people the ability to walk across water.
Ah, yes,
Very
well.
nice. And I was considering that the scroll we got from the merchant princes that gives us a free spells, considering taking water breathing as a ritual spell in case there was any places we had to go to that were submerged under water, which today here it is.
Yeah,
I haven't done that yet, but I am definitely considering that one as an option, just to give us more to work with.
well, water walking would also allow you to bring your mounts across and actually bring all of your camping gear and stuff with you into the city.
Oh,
So if you do
Yeah.
end up spending the night in the city, you would have all your stuff with you.
oh.
Let's see what everyone else is doing first. We did not have Zinhorn here for the session journeying to Mezro. He spent most of the journey below deck, and since arriving has been carefully getting to know the surrounding area. Zinhorn, what do you do as you make yourself shown in camp for the first time in seemingly quite a while?
So just taking the surroundings, just see what's like, what type of surroundings, what's going to be best suited. Just trying to figure out a way to deal with swampiness, because the area that I'm from isn't really that wet.
That's correct. Zinhorn, please make a nature check.
Yeah. Nature check. Nature check is that is a 9.
So while everyone else is getting ready, you continue just scouting the area around the camp and walking up the beach to the edge of the jungle, examining the trees and the plants, looking for tracks, and you've been doing this ever since the party arrived last night. And so you determine that this part of the jungle, at least, is primarily swampland. While from the beach, it looks like just looks indistinguishable from pretty much any other patch of jungle. Once you enter, you notice that the ground is covered in puddles of muddy water that are at the very least a couple of centimeters high, soaking into your boots. Rivulets of water drip off the leaves and branches of the trees, and the humidity is much higher here than it is even out on the beach. The heat is stifling, but the air is also very wet, and your skin is already covered in a thin layer of perspiration. It's likely that if you're going to spend any period of time in this portion of the jungle, you'll need to make sure you put on insect repellent and not overdo the physical activity, as it would be quite easy to tire oneself in this humidity, and this is combined with how treacherous the swampy terrain might be. So, is there anything anyone else would like to do before you set off for Mezro? I'm assuming you're all pretty eager to get into the city itself and find out what mysteries await, what answers it can tell you about the death curse.
That too, I suppose.
You asked me.
I'll wait until I get in the city to do looking
Yep.
at stuff.
No one has any specific preparations or anything?
One quick question. Can you tell me what the stage of the death curse is?
Same as it was
What
last
is it
time.
appearing?
It's still -5 to your max HP, but you have noticed that while you've been able to mainly conceal the developing pox underneath your armor up until now, you're quite disheartened when you wake up this morning and start to see and see that patches of grey, putrid pox have started to spread along your arms and legs as well.
Yeah. That's always attractive.
Oh yeah, I've got stuff.
So, anything... So you'd like to bring everything with you? Pack up the camp, bring all your supplies?
If we can.
Yeah, may as well. I can cast it on 10 beings, so it doesn't necessarily need to be me because I can fly. Ava can fly.
Yeah.
That said,
anybody
keep
that's
in mind
walking?
that this would be sustained flight, because it seems to be pretty much most of the city is submerged in the swamp, so might be worth casting it on yourself just in case.
That's true. No, may as well cast it on everyone. We can walk across the water.
Yep, so you cast
Actually,
it...
if water walk...
Yep, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just checking if water walk can be a ritual.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. Because, for obvious reasons.
Yes, when it has...
Yeah.
It's a ritual. Yeah, so,
Yep.
yeah, I cast it as a ritual, actually, so I don't even need to use...
Yep. So while everyone else starts to pack up the camp, fold up the tents, stow the rations away, and prepare the pack animals that you've brought along with you for the journey, you prepare the ritual of water walking, and you cast it upon all members of the party, plus your pack animals. This is the 2 pack horses that carry your stuff, the 3rd pack horse that has been repurposed as Sir Lucian's own personal mount. And
my bird?
yes. Yes. Is there anyone else in particular that you would like to make sure you have it cast on?
So what's the party? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So there's 6 of you all together, including Veska.
That's right, let's go. And then the 3 animals.
Yep.
Well,
That's
which
9.
Wait, 3 or 4? Because
Well, there's the-
Duncan count as most well.
Well, are you casting it on Duncan, or is he able to move through difficult terrain?
Actually, yeah, no, he can move through difficult terrain without any problems. So he
Yeah,
should
so
be
I'll
fine.
allow him to just swim through the swamp water.
And my giant lizard doesn't need it because he
Yeah.
can swim. So
Zinhorn can transform into something that swims. Ava, do you intend to ride your cassowary?
Yes.
okay, I'll cast it on Cassari then.
Yep. Ava's cassowary, quiet as usual, mostly unseen, purrs in appreciation as you cast the spell upon it. And then you stand on the edge of the jungle, ready for the journey into Mezro. Any last-minute preparations?
I don't think there's really anything that I can do, really. We don't have any repellent.
You could search the supplies and see if by chance the merchant princes bought
Can I
you.
see if I can
provided-
make them repellent?
Yeah, it's also very possible that, Ava could use her herbalism to try to find some herbs that act as a natural insect repellent.
And I'm
That is also a
familiar
good
with the
idea.
area, so
Yeah.
I think I would
Yes, we do. I say we give it a try, see what we get.
Could Sir Lucian's putrid smell already act as a repellent or act as supply for
Well, if anything, that's
these
going to draw.
potions?
If anything,
Yeah,
that's
I was
going to
gonna
draw more insects to you.
Oh,
They
okay.
seem to be
Yeah, you're
drawn to the
you're part of the
putrefying
problem, not part of the
flesh.
solution.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
if Ava wants to do that, I'll help her with whatever check is
All right.
going by. She tells me what herbs to look for.
Yep. So Ava, please make a herbalism kit check with advantage.
Yep. Oh. Herbalism. That's just proficiency, isn't it?
Yeah. In this case, you can add your intelligence modifier if you like.
Okay. Alright. So that is 18.
18. So you and Bowl head off into the jungle, and without getting too far into the swamp, you take a look and see if you can find any herbs that are pungent enough to act as a natural repellent. And Ava, you do manage to find a handful of flowers that, when they're crushed up, will release a very pungent smell. A smell that reminds you, in your memory, of being a very strong manure-like smell. And usually it's used by people who live in this part of the jungle as a way to repel most insects. While there are some that are always hungry enough or stupid enough to perhaps even be drawn to the stench, most of them will give you a wide berth. And so you take these flowers back to camp and you crush them up, grinding up the purple and yellow petals with the hilt of your blade until you smell the pungent odor arising from the colourful powder you've made. You mix this with some fresh water from your rations, liquefying it, and then you all take a moment to splash some of this concoction on your faces and on your arms, legs, and hands. It takes a few minutes, and at the end of it, you all smell like you've had a very unfortunate accident after a spicy dinner, but you notice that already you are seeing some respite from the seemingly endless swarms of mosquitoes and blowflies.
Just imagine Solutions just sitting there going, I hate this place, I hate everything about this place.
Yes. And so you head on into the jungle. Would you like to use your guides to navigate, or would you like to navigate yourself?
Can I get assistance from the guides to navigate?
You sure can. And so Salida and Mujarib walk a brisk pace ahead of you, making sure the party sticks to the trail, or at least they call it the trail, but you can't see anything that passes as a road in this dense, swampy jungle. Ava, please make a survival check with advantage.
Survival. 26.
Following your guides, you manage to lead the party through the jungle, and for the most part manage to keep everyone on dry land. You continue this way for about 20 minutes until you see your destination. An ancient city sprawls before you. Crumbling walls form a circle divided into 4 quarters, with a gargantuan vine-covered temple at its centre. Maze of ruins lies beneath. The buildings are half flooded and draped in thick jungle foliage. To the northwest, smoke rises from a small shanty town slumped on stilts just outside the city walls. And so from here, you can see the great Lost City of Mezro spread out before you. before you head down into the swamp proper, while you've got a good look at the city, it might be a wise idea to plan what your first destination will be. After all, if you were to search this city building by building, you'd probably be here for months.
Can we see any major population areas?
So from where you are, you see no signs of life within the city itself. The city is a maze of ruins, half submerged under the water, and what isn't underwater has been pretty much consumed by jungle growth at this point. The only signs of habitation you can see are in the northwest, just outside the city walls. There's a small, stilted shanty town erected on top of the swamp at the base of a cliff, and you can see plumes of smoke coming from the thatched huts in this area. It's marked on the map with the promise icon. The only other... Yes, Bobbit?
I was going to say, looking out of the sea, is there any chance that I would have any idea of what would be the best place to search?
I'd like you to make a history check, please, Bobbit.
Because imagine Bob's probably staring, partially excited to see this place again, at the same time doing that whole realization of, oh wow, it really has been 200 years.
Yeah, it's not like any of those memories you have. This place has been abandoned and crumbling for quite some time.
So you said history?
Yep.
Okay, 18.
18. Okay. So, Bobbit, the first thing you notice is that the small shanty town looks as if it's a recent addition. The vague memories you have as Mezro, everything you've read about it, combined with what you're able to dredge up from the deepest recesses of your unconscious, suggest that this small shanty town was not originally part of Mezro and may in fact be serving as some sort of base camp for an expeditionary force or somebody else who's got business within the ruins. Ties the very center of the city is what you remember to be the Temple of Ubtao. The grand temple to Ubtao, the god and creator of Chult. The most powerful god worshipped by the Tabaxi of this region, and the palace from which the city's 12 chosen, or Barre, ruled over the city. Alessander Rayburton among them. Furthermore, you recognize in the northeastern quarter of the city, very far away, pressed up towards the edge of the northern wall, a large dome-shaped building that you vaguely recall to be the Royal Aviary. And as you look at it, fragments of memory stir in the recesses of your mind. Memories
I was gonna say, isn't this where I look?
Yes! And once Bobbit points...
wouldn't I be more familiar with the area?
Yes, once Bobbit points it out to you, Ava, that's when you recognise that Bobbit is indeed pointing at the building that serves as your tribe's home. However, Bobbit describes walking through rows and rows of gilded bird cages, feeding and playing with all sorts of vibrant bird life, although you remember it being more like an indoor village where the large bird cages have been repurposed into huts that Aarakocra use as their homes. The rest of the city, from looking at it, appears at this time to be either unnotable or beyond repair and not worth your time to search.
So we have the palace, the recently added shanty town, or Ava's village.
Yep. Either way, you'll have to pass through the outer You'll have to pass through the swamp water to get into the city itself, but what do you guys think would be a good first destination?
As much as I really, really personally would want to go to the palace part, I'd imagine Ava's Village is probably a good place. Get a good foothold with the, catch up with the locals.
It's
See the
probably a
folks,
good
all that
idea.
jazz.
Very well. And so, agreeing that Ava's Village, or the Royal Aviary, is the best place to start, you begin your descent from the hill you're on down into the swamp below. Your feet touch upon the surface of the murky water, sending ripples across the brown drink. And without any effort whatsoever, you simply walk across it as if it were solid ground until you enter the city proper. I'd like you all to make perception checks, please.
Okay. Nope.
Nat 20.
Well, I'm on the other end of the scale. That's a nat 1 for me. I'm clearly preoccupied with many, many things.
I can't read at the moment. I think it's +4.
Yeah, should be.
Or 15.
Yep, and how did Sir Lucy go?
Be back.
I got 17, so that's a pass.
17. Yep. Zinhorn,
I got a 9.
9. Okay, well, that is...
Hang on, sorry, wait.
Yep.
Not 9. I was looking at the wrong thing. That is a 13, sorry. 6 plus 7.
6 plus 7. Okay, that is a group pass. I was going to say a group fail, but you came through right in the end, Zinhorn.
Sorry, I'll just hide down.
Yep. So Mezro is set back from the main portion of River Olung, and the swamp that surrounds it is vast, and as you walk across it, you see bubbles bubbling up from below the water, and ripples along the surface as something moves, and you each see large brown shadows just under the surface, each about the size and shape of a small tree log.
Hey, Gator.
It appears that the swamp surrounding Mezro is infested with crocodiles.
Nice.
Yeah, the Gator.
And as you walk across the water, they seem to sense the vibrations your feet make on the surface, and you notice several of them not rising from under the water yet, but very, very slowly turning and beginning to make their way in your direction.
Yeah.
Would I be good to advise whatever we should do in this area?
Well, see, Ava, in your experience, you
Situation.
usually just fly over this part, but you do know that the crocodiles will generally only be aggressive if they think they're under threat or they're hungry.
Huh.
So.
Would I be able to tell if they're under threat or hungry?
Well, you can't really tell if they're hungry, but you know what would make them think they're under threat. Usually sudden noises, violent movements.
Well, I would think from I'm trying not to use my real world knowledge.
Probably, I was gonna say as a ranger, you probably could do it.
Yeah,
and
you
get
probably
away with
do actually have that knowledge, though, as a ranger, so...
it. Yeah, you.
Well,
if you can.
I would think from vibrations and them approaching that they would be hunting.
That's very possible. Please make a nature check.
Okay, that is a 16 plus, where is my nature? Plus 6. So 22? Is that right?
Yep, 22. So you watch as the crocodiles slowly swim towards you, and it doesn't quite look as if they're hunting, because they're not really moving with purpose. Rather, it just seems to be as if they're slowly drifting towards you out of curiosity, just to check what the vibrations might be.
Okay. Well, I know I can.
Just
I can
the same,
fly.
you think it might be a good idea that the party moves slowly and carefully so as not to disturb them.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
So I suppose at this point, Ava, you flap your wings and start flying overhead.
Yeah.
Everyone else, what would you like to do? If you'd just like to continue walking across the water slowly and carefully, you may make a stealth check. Otherwise, I'm open to any other suggestions you may have.
I would like to. I'm assuming that the pack animals are like just in a group of 3.
Yes, and Sir Lucian's riding. Sir Lucian and Vesca are riding one of them.
I would like to fly and land on the one that is not mounted by someone, get my rifle out, and just... If any crocodiles get, like, within 5 feet of one of the pack animals, I would like to shoot near it to try and scare it off.
Yep. In the meantime, would you just want the pack animals to continue going as they are, or would you like to try to make them move a bit slower and more cautiously?
Probably a good idea unless we really need to speed up. If we're moving cautiously through their territory, it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Yeah, I might try and get the horse to slow down a little bit.
Very well. In that case, I would ask you and Sir Lucian to please both make animal handling checks.
Another nat 20. 2 different die.
Yeah. Man's in his element.
Yep. How did Sir Lucian go? So M1 to make an animal handling check, that will be, I don't think you have proficiency in animal handling, so that'll just be a d20 plus your wisdom mod. And that is a 16 for him. So, yep. So that is a pass for both of you. Raise your fingers, shh, 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 calming the pack animals and making them move at an almost snail's pace. Their footfalls making only the very softest ripples on the surface of the water. Zinhorn and Bobbit, how are you guys proceeding?
See, I'd say I'd fly, but obviously I'd still need Duncan as well. So that would be
Yes,
kind of a problem
and
for me.
keep in mind that with your jetpack, it has a limited number of uses. It can only fly once per day. So if you were to fly
That
now,
is a-
you would not be able to
yeah.
fly.
Yes, that is also a problem. So probably just go quietly with Duncan as well, because they probably wouldn't go after Duncan due to the fact that he's mechanical, not...
Yeah, but he's still making vibrations on the surface. To be fair, they wouldn't really know he's
It is
mechanical.
true. That is true.
As he's mechanical, though, I would ask you to please make a sleight of hand check to manipulate the controls to slow him down to a more cautious pace.
Sleight of hand, okay. 17.
17. His gears whir and grind as you pull a lever on the back of his neck, and he moves slower and slower, keeping up with the pace of the pack animals. Zinhorn, how would you like to proceed?
Just, yeah, taking the precaution, keeping your eye out, getting ready to sort of like get out of the way.
Yep, so please make a stealth check.
That is a 15.
A 15. Lovely. So the entire group slows down and cautiously walks across the water. You notice that the crocodiles draw a little bit closer, but as you're now all moving much more slowly, any disturbance you're creating in the water seems to have calmed down enough that they're no longer curious, and after a few minutes, as you draw nearer to the crumbling, vine-covered outer wall of the city, you notice the crocodiles turn around and lazily begin to swim away back into the swamp. You collectively breathe a sigh of relief as you pass through the ruins of what was once a great gate tower to welcome travellers and merchants from all across Chult and enter the city proper. The inside of the city is something of a labyrinthine maze. Even knowing where you're heading, it's very difficult to get a bearing on where you currently are. This is because not only is the city half submerged in water and crumbling under the elements, but portions of Mezro were actually designed and built to resemble a maze, so that anyone who was not under the eye of Ubtao, anyone who would be hostile to Mezro, would inevitably get lost and be unable to find their way to the important places of the city. And so, you may rely on your guides to help you through this part of the city towards Ava's village, if you like. Although both of them profess that they have no expertise in Mezro and are just as likely to end up getting you lost as any of you are, even though their experiences as guides makes them perhaps a bit more likely to help you find your bearings. Or you can call upon Bobbitt's hidden memories and hope somehow.
If we're finding grapes in my village.
Yes, but Ava, you usually just fly there. You don't walk on foot through the city. And I mean, if you want to fly there now, Ava, you can. But the way the city is built, with these buildings all shoulder to shoulder, it would be difficult for the party to follow you. So if you and Bulb would like to go on ahead, you can. But the rest of the party will still have to make their way through on foot.
I've probably got to stay with the party because every hour we need to find dry land and I need to reapply the ritual.
Yes.
I'll
Because
stay with you. I won't abandon you.
I feel like between myself, Ava, and the two guides, we should be able to work this out. Although that being said, Bobbit is keeping an eye on Silica after the
Yes.
minor note from the side quest.
Yes, in last week's off-screen session, before leaving for their side quest, Bobbit and Bulb noticed Salida, the UNT guide, sneaking off into the jungle with a sending stone in hand. When confronted by Bobbit, she professed that she was not up to anything.
We haven't actually
no, you didn't. Yeah, Bobbit.
Technically, I went to her first as sort of like a peace offering for mistrusting her. Might have warned her against doing anything against the party, and then I noticed her with the sitting stone.
Yes,
which
and then you haven't had a
kind
chance.
of ironic.
You haven't had a chance to confront her about it yet, but
No.
she's proved to be fairly useful up to this point. So you'll
That is
reserve
true.
judgment. So how
is
would
the
you
idea.
like to proceed into the city?
I imagine I'll let the guides go up front. Probably.
any checks to find out if it was going to be done with advantage because we have so many guides. Is that correct or no?
Well, the two guides could assist each other, and so one guide, which would probably be Salida, because she has the higher survival score, would do a check with advantage.
Yeah, I was going to say that it wasn't with advantage. Bulb would fly up every now and then and try and map out a route. But if she's already got advantage, then there's no point. Yeah.
Bobbit could try to call forth anything she can remember. If she's successful, this would provide a bonus to the survival check.
May as well do that then. First.
No.
So Bobbit, please make a history check. The DC is 18.
Oh, okay, come on. And that's a nat 20. Holy shit. We're just getting flashbacks right now.
Now that you're in the city proper and you step off the water onto the dry land, the cobblestone streets that are overrun with moss and vines, and seeing the crumbling buildings that are half rubble, half plant, and mostly buried under rocks and trees and bushes, memories of Mezro start to flood into your mind. You see these streets filled with bustling crowds wearing robes of all sorts of vibrant colours, busy marketplaces, exotic smells, and tabaxi minstrels plying their trade on the streets. You get a rough idea of where to go and pass it along to the guides. Salida listens carefully, and then she silently nods. Majarib slaps a hand on his chest, grabs the hilt of his axe, and says, and if we can't find it, we'll just knock everything down until we get there.
Yeah, Bobbit sort of glares at him a little bit when he mentions that part. Like, no? Maybe we do this without wrecking everything? Please?
Majarib just sort of looks at you and frowns, hanging his head slightly. I would like one of you to please roll for Salida. This will be a survival check, and she gets a +9 on her survival.
Who wants to do that then?
You can if you wish.
Yeah, I'll do it then.
Smithy, I'm going to send you the wild shape list.
Thank you. I've been trying to search for it this whole time, and I just can't find where it is.
Is it with advantage?
Yes, because of Bobbit.
Oh, thank God.
Well, just having to
Much
remember
better.
exactly where the hell we have to go.
That's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Well, and so with Bobbit's vague memories providing occasional input, Salida and Majarib carefully lead you through the maze-like streets of Mezro. Hang on, I'm just sending Smithy a link. Okay, so Smithy, I'm posting the link in Discord. I'm sending it to you.
Thank you.
So this is the 5e tools bestiary, and just filter by creature type beast, and that's what you can become.
Yep.
CR limits withstanding, of course. You move through the maze-like streets of Mezro for seemingly hours. The sun had just come up when you began your journey, but already the shadows are starting to grow longer, and the sun hangs in the blue sky above, signaling that high noon is on its way. And as you press further into the city, the stifling heat grows more and more overpowering. Your clothes become drenched in sweat, and the incessant buzzing of insects fills your ears as the mosquitoes and blowflies, foolhardy enough to ignore your insect repellent, continue to bother you. As the insects do their very best to feast upon you, I'd like you all to make a survival check. You may do it with advantage as you're wearing insect repellent.
Jesus Christ!
Another nat
No,
20.
nat 20. Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm rotating through my dice now instead of just going with the same one over and over again. And so far, that's 3 different dice. I've got nat 20s.
That's disgusting. I love it.
You watch when we get to combat.
I got
Failed on both
Failed.
rolls.
Alright,
next bit.
so Lucius.
Yeah, my advantage, I got 19 plus 3. So
Yep, so
22.
everyone passes except Sir Lucian, who I bet
Awesome.
probably did not put on the repellent when Ava gave it to him.
It doesn't really matter at this point because, like, all my putrid skin is probably melting off or some description.
Well, there's apparently still something in there that the mosquitoes love to feast on, and while everyone else manages to bat them away, they just seem to take a liking to Sir Lucian and keep swarming him. And Sir Lucian, I'm afraid that these
Like another death plague.
insects, as they swarm you, unfortunately give you a disease. In addition to your dex
no.
save.
Oh, I'm like super diseased.
And so, you
Jesus.
have contracted shivering
Syphilis?
sickness.
Aw.
Shivering sickness.
Insects native to the jungles and marshes of Cholt carry this disease, shivering sickness. The easiest protection against it is a coating of insect repellent, but unfortunately that didn't work from you. And so, you are now infected, and I would like you to roll 2d6, please.
Alrighty. 6 and then 11.
11. So, as of now, as you keep up with the rest of the group and do your best to keep batting the mosquitoes away, you suddenly feel a little bit of nausea welling up in your guts, and your vision begins to swim and blur a little bit, and you begin coughing. The major symptoms will manifest 11 hours from now, but for now, you will suffer no ill effects.
Oh, great. The most diseased guy in the whole realm.
However, when the effects of the disease do manifest in 11 hours, while the disease runs its course, you will gain only half the normal number of hit points when you heal.
Jesus. Oh my god. So
Great.
you're already down hit points, and now you're gonna get half back from healing. We're just gonna start calling you Lucian Disturbed, because you're just
Yes.
constantly down with the sickness.
As for the rest of you, you notice that as Sir Lucian is having trouble batting away the insects, his skin looks quite pale and colourless, though, given that he's currently dealing with the death plague, you don't really notice that he is particularly ill right now.
Oh, no.
Well, I mean, all he'd have to do is ask very nicely and humbly for help.
I think, when does it get to the point where he's going to give into his own ego and just say, can I have some help, please?
Yeah, I think he's reaching that limit very soon. Okay, I would like someone to please roll a d20. Just a d20, no modifiers.
Someone else
This
is
is an
doing
encounter thing. I was gonna say, if this is an encounter thing, I am not rolling, because
7.
I failed every single
7.
one.
7?
7 on
Okay.
the D20.
After about 2 hours moving through the maze of Mezro, you come upon a curious sight in what appears to be the crumbling, trodden, trampled remnants of a marketplace of some kind. You see... Now let me just find the correct page in my notes. Because keep in mind this is homebrew, this is not part of Tomb of Annihilation. You find a dilapidated, upturned wooden cart lying in the street ahead, surrounded by rubble. You see the armoured legs of a knight protruding from underneath the cart.
A knight, you say?
Yeah, well, that's your impression, because based on the legs, they're both wearing very, very heavy-looking sabatons, and the only other person you know who wears armour like this is Sir Lucian.
Is there signs that this guy's alive?
He's certainly not moving.
Do we want to check the thing?
Sure.
As you approach the upturned cart, you hear the buzzing of insects and see clouds of flies buzzing around it, perhaps signalling that the person trapped underneath died fairly recently, if indeed they are dead.
So a recent addition then.
What would you like to do?
If we're smart, maybe check them over to see if there's any distinguishing marks.
Yep. Sir Bobbit, please make an insight check.
Oh, insight check. Someone's going to be investigation. Oh, well.
Oh, you can... Alright, do an investigation check. Go ahead.
18.
So, you walk towards the cart, and you notice that there aren't any tracks leading to it. You walk a little bit further afield, notice the tracks digging into the damp cobblestone, leading up to a side street that branches off from this old marketplace. Based on that finding, it looks as if the cart was hurled from afar to crash down upon the person.
I was just letting her, artifice to go here. Is just looking at, trying to work out trajectory going, wow, either this guy was really, really unlucky or someone had really good aim. I mean, look at it. It's just, wow. What kind of catapult spell would you need to make this work?
Everyone, what is your passive perception?
Perception.
17.
Yeah, 14.
Perception.
Yeah, I have good wisdom.
Yep.
17.
Ooh, okay, so Zinhorn, you are the only one to see this. But
Also,
as...
16.
I do have alert as my...
Yes. So...
That makes sense.
So, Zinhorn, you're the only one to see this, but as Bobbit explains her findings, you swear out of the corner of your eye you see the cart jiggle as if something is moving underneath. And when you turn to face it, for just a brief moment, you see something pinkish, flesh-coloured, squirming underneath, quickly darting into the shadow underneath the cart. Something vaguely worm-shaped, but quite large.
Large and worm-shaped.
Yes. In fact, you may roll an insight check to see if there's anything you can catch before it darts back underneath.
Okay. That is a 17.
A 17. As you watch the large worm or whatever it is quickly squirm and dart back under the cart, you notice that on the very end of its body appears to be a large bloodshot eyeball.
Okay.
Hmm.
I just say we're being watched.
And you point towards the cart.
Yeah.
By the cart?
Under the cart.
Oh.
Creepy.
What would
Eyeball
you guys like to
worm
do?
thingy.
Well, that's interesting.
I don't know, because my brain isn't working today. I'm so tired.
You could just press on. You could just press on. And sorry, Kitty, I really wanted to do this at the normal time, but you know,
Yes.
snap lockdown.
But-
But
So, was it an eye? Just an eye, or was it
Eye on a tentacle.
yeah, basically an eye on the end of some sort of fleshy worm-like stalk. The eye was bloodshot.
If it was explained to me, would I maybe be able to identify it?
Yes, you may make a history check with advantage.
That was in that 20.
Wow.
Okay, you've had experience with something similar to this not too long ago, within your fairly recent memory. The description of what Zinhorn saw makes you think of a beholder's eye stalk.
Yeah, I
Oh.
thought so.
Yay. Oh dear.
So, what would you like to do? You could try to press on. Hopefully it ignores you. You could entreat with it, whatever it is. Maybe it might talk back. Or, ready your weapons and fling that cart aside. And
Are
Yep.
there any identifying emblems on the armor? And what condition is the armor in on the person?
the armor seems to be in quite good condition. However, as for identifying marks, as you can only see the legs, you can't see any. If there were any, they'd probably be on the chest plate. Or the gauntlet.
And what's the body under again? Sorry. It's...
An overturned cart.
Oh, so and that's where this eye is it?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Well, Bulb for one would like to get a look at this armor. So
I would like
do
to
have
talk to
some.
the thing.
If we need to get the cart off in a very big hurry, I have a means to do so, but it would also disturb whatever is underneath.
But it would also
mean-
probably
Oh.
surprise it.
And did you say that it giggled?
No, it didn't giggle. It made no sound. But if you were to quickly fling the cart off, it probably would surprise whatever's underneath. So that would be a way to get the
Interesting.
drop on it if you do want to attack it.
I was gonna say, I'm actually gonna just happily reach into my cloak and pull out Blinky, who's been hiding underneath it for the entirety of the time that we've been on this journey so far, because he just hasn't done anything, and see if I can describe to it what it is and see if it knows exactly what we're dealing with here before we start picking fights.
You describe
He knows.
what you saw to Blinky. His eye stalks quiver, and he just looks at you with a look of sheer terror on his face, perhaps remembering your encounter with Xanathar, and then zooms back into your cloak.
Well, Blinky doesn't like it, so if we want to kill this thing, go for it.
Say the word, and here it goes.
Well, Bulb is going to flutter backwards to get some distance between. Make it look natural. He's gonna walk away, making it look like he's looking at the ground somewhere.
Yep. So, yep, that's fine. Bulb, I'd like you to make a stealth check, please.
Ooh, and as I'm walk. Oh no, but this is for sight. This isn't sound, is it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Damn
Are we gonna avoid this thing?
We can't just, yeah, I was gonna say, we can't
Yeah.
just leave it alone if need be.
Yeah, we can just.
We
It
don't-
does seem to know that you're present, but so far it hasn't made any move to burst out at you or anything.
Well, I got a 17 to walk a little bit away to get distance
Yep,
between.
that's it. Bulb is curious
matter what
about
we do.
the armor, so
Yeah, I am curious about the armor, but it's not a I need to look at it type thing.
Yeah.
I'd say press on cautiously with weapons readied.
yep.
Yeah, just make sure we're keeping an eye on it, but otherwise leave it be. We
Yeah.
don't need to pick fights with everything that moves.
Very well. I would like, if that's what you've agreed upon, I'd like you all to make stealth checks, please. So, Lucian, you make yours with disadvantage because you're wearing plate.
Will I keep my 17 or roll another one?
Yeah, keep your 17.
Cool.
Okay, so
We
That
do.
is
Stealth
a 19 for stealth.
19.
19.
is a 16.
16. Oh, and Bobbit, you make yours with disadvantage too, because breastplate.
Ah,
Yeah, Bobbit, you make your stealth checks with disadvantage because you're wearing a breastplate, so...
okay, well either way it's still 19. Got an 18 and 16, it's plus 3. So
Yep, 19.
Yay!
Alright, so Lucian, how did you go?
Failed by 1.
Yeah.
So I'm going ching, ching, ching,
Yep,
ching,
yep.
very stealthy.
Yeah, it's
So-
more like you're walking along and just coughing the entire time. Just, yep, I'm fine.
So, one by
Wait for
one, one by one, you slowly make your way through the ruined marketplace, past the cart, and nothing seems to jump out at you. At long last, it's Sir Lucian's turn. He waves at all of you, and then sets off through the marketplace. He seems to be making good progress. Then suddenly, a fit of coughing takes over. He doubles over and splutters and catches his foot on a loose stone. He stumbles to avoid tripping over and ends up running the rest of the way through the marketplace, his armor loudly jingling. And this appears to be what sets off whatever's underneath the cart. There's a
Not rolling very well.
you hear the sound of groaning wood, and then slowly something shifts the cart out of the way and snakes out of the shadows into plain view. Everyone, please roll for initiative.
Yeah, well, we can't say we didn't try. 11.
6.
11, 6. Yep, Ava at 21. That's where we wanted to be.
That is an 18.
18.
Eesh, 12 in total.
Well, hey, that's
Hey,
pretty
feel better
good
than
for
me.
Sir Lucian right now.
He's at the
Okay,
middle of the order.
I'm going to swap the music
Yay!
because we're going into
Why
combat.
not?
Oh wait,
No.
I didn't want to send that as a message to Smithy. Don't worry, Kitty, you're not the only one whose brain is turned off today.
It's going around.
I think it's just because of my job. Okay.
Oh.
The cart is flung over, revealing a beholder zombie underneath.
Oh.
Its
crap.
eye
Oh,
stalks.
fun.
Where's my daylight spell?
Its eye
Ah,
stalks
like-
quiver with delight as it begins to slowly hover towards you. As it does so, you hear the sound of you hear the sound of scraping stone coming from the nearby buildings, and then you see a pale-skinned humanoid peek down over the edge of one of the roofs, let out a long, flowing tongue and bay at you. Ah! It is
Like muffins.
Ava's turn first.
Oh, shit. Alright. So we have to go straight for it, don't we?
Yep.
Alright,
So Lucian broke the stealth.
Good one, still this year.
I want to shoot at it.
Yep, at the beholder zombie.
Yep.
Alright, go ahead, roll to hit it.
Damn zombies.
That's a 17.
17, that's a hit. Roll for damage.
Yep. God, my brain's not working. 8 plus 5.
Yep, that's 13. Plus your D4 psychic damage, I believe.
Yep. That's a 3.
3, yep. 16 damage altogether. Would you like to use your extra attack?
Yes.
Alright, go ahead, roll to hit again.
I was in that 20.
Ooh, okay, roll and double the damage.
Yep. That was 7, so doubled 14.
14. Not bad at all.
And now I would like to move
Yep,
and take cover.
yep, your arrow slams into the beholder's main eye. And as it writhes in pain, set off for cover. Where would you like to go?
Just a sec. I would like to go here. Actually, I can move further away, can't I?
Yeah, you can. You've got 30 feet. More if you use Zephyr Strike. You could fly up. You could fly up onto a building if you like.
No, I want to take cover behind a building.
All right. So you run behind a nearby building.
Actually, can I get like this far away?
Yep. You run. You run and
Over
perch inside the crumbling husk of a house, and you wait. It is the enemy's turn. The beholder zombie smiles and floats forward, its dead eyes staring blankly at you. And it lets loose. It lets loose with its eye rays. Pew! And here comes a ray flying at Bobbit. Bobbit.
Oh no.
Wait.
Yes, it's undead. It is.
Yep.
It's going to make a wisdom save.
Nice DC 15
And
wisdom save.
it got a 17 on its wisdom save. So it fires a ray at Bobbit. Bobbit, you need to take a constitution save, please. A DC 14 con save.
Come on. And shit, that's a nat 1.
That's a nat 1. The ray of necrotic energy hits you, and you take 38 points of necrotic damage. Meanwhile, Ghast number 1 roars, rushes forwards and leaps off the roof, running at Sir Lucian. It slashes with its claws, unable to pierce Sir Lucian's armor. Ghast number 3 rushes ahead, leaps down, and swings its claws at Bulb. That is a 10! Bulb, you duck as the Ghast's claws sail lazily over your head. Ghast number 2 takes a running leap off the roof and lands in front of Zinhorn, swinging at him with its claws. And that is a hit on Zinhorn. Zinhorn, you take 13 points of slashing damage, and you need to make a DC 10 con save, please.
That is a 14.
14, you are fine. The Ghast's claws did not paralyze you this round. It is your turn, Zinhorn.
Alright. So, as a bonus action, I'm going to Flame Blade.
Yep.
And then just strike for this thing using my action.
Yep. Roll to hit the Ghast.
That is an 11 plus 7, that's 18.
That's a hit. Roll for damage. And if it's fire damage, you may double it, because these Ghasts are weak to fire.
That is 2, 4, 7, 14 damage.
14 damage. Ah! Roars the Ghast as you slash it with your flame blade. It goes stumbling backwards, its skin peeling, revealing putrid flesh underneath. Would you like to move anywhere?
No, I'm pretty much surrounded, so...
Yep, that's your turn. Very well, it is now Veska's turn. She looks at you all, look of worry on her face, and she says, I was hoping we wouldn't have to run into one of these again! And then she raises her hand and casts Magic Missile at the Beholder zombie, hitting it for 14 points of force damage. Then she dashes away from Ghast 2, which attempts to hit her with an attack of opportunity. She ducks and sprints towards Ava. It is now your turn, Sir Lucian.
So, I'm currently locked into combat with a zombie, aren't I?
Yeah, with this Ghast one.
Oof. Can I just swing it with my charge blade, but not without I'm not activating the charge.
Yep, go ahead, roll to hit.
Alrighty, I got a 10. Oh, I think that's a hit.
10 plus your strength, yeah, that's a hit. 10 plus
Ooh,
your
yeah,
to hit, yeah, that's a hit. These Ghasts,
Alright.
these Ghasts only have an AC of 13, so.
Oh, okay, beautiful. Okay, D8, isn't it?
Yep.
6 points of damage.
Plus your strength, so 10
Oh, it's
points of
6,
damage.
4.
Yeah. Would you like to use your
Ew.
extra attack to go again?
I would actually.
Alright,
That'd be
roll
awesome.
to hit.
Alright, that is a 3 plus...
Your strength plus your to hit, which is just, unfortunately, a miss. The Ghast hisses at you as you swing and it ducks. Bobbit, your turn.
Okay, well, Bobbit's in a lot of pain at the moment, because that took off 2/3 of her health. Originally I was just going to take a regular shot at the zombie beholder, but considering watching Veska's attempts at hurting it, I think I might just do the same thing and just pull out the wand of magic missile and go. Yeah, yep, didn't have this last time. I meant at least I'm brave enough to try and fight this one instead of being terrified of Zenithar. So screw this thing, just all of the magic missiles now.
Yep. So how many will that be as the beholder zombie stares blankly at you, waiting for whatever comes
You know I only ever do this at 6th level and just all the damn bolts.
Yep.
No kill, like overkill. That's going to be 41 points of damage.
41 points of damage. That, combined with Ava's damage, kills the beholder zombie as your magic missiles fly into it, blasting it down a nearby well. As it roars in pain and sinks down the well, its eye stalks fire off one last ray at Zinhorn. Zinhorn, I need you to please make a DC 14 dex save.
Oh no.
And that is a 12.
A 12. Zinhorn, you take 50 points of force damage
Holy crap.
as these beholder zombie goes down the well dead.
So I'm down.
You're down, make a death save. Zombie beholders aren't strong enough to instantly disintegrate you.
Still, that has to hurt like hell.
That's a 14.
Yep, so that's a pass, you're fine. Bulb, it is your turn.
My turn. So, Zinhorn, did you just save one?
Yeah, he just got a
one
death
save.
save.
Okay. I'm going to Misty Step up here.
Yep. You step into the shadows, emerging on a nearby rooftop.
Yep. And then I'm going to cast Scorching Ray.
Yep,
One for each of the ghasts.
one for each of the ghasts. Okay, roll to hit.
And would this be advantage because I'm higher than them?
Yes, it is.
Ooh, very clever.
Now, 2 greens, 2 blues, and then the red in the middle. Okay, so that is a 25, a 25, and a 18.
Yep, those
Damn.
are all hits. Go ahead, roll your damage and double it.
Actually useful in this fight. Okay, so the first... So for Ghast 1 takes 12 damage.
12 damage, yep.
Plus 1 for my staff, so that's actually 14 if I
Yep,
double the staff
14 damage, yep.
The Ghast 2 takes 18 damage.
Ghast 2 screams as it goes down in a plume of smoke.
And Ghast 3 takes 14 damage.
14 damage. The two remaining ghasts hiss and roar in pain. It is now Ava's turn.
Okie doke. I want to move. Actually, I'll just step out of cover
Yep, step out into the street.
and shoot Gust 3.
Go ahead, roll to hit.
Oh, it's in that 20.
Ooh.
Holy
Yep,
shit.
roll your damage
These
and
dice you
double
got
it.
me, Remy, are awesome.
Nice.
You're welcome.
Yes, please continue using these dice.
That is 7. So times 2, 14.
Oh, lovely. You fire your arrow, it hits the ghast square in the head, and it goes
then-
down silently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was already enough to kill it.
Well, it's just
Alright,
a shaking going, oh thank god.
I think, I'm probably out of range of the other one, aren't I?
The range of a bow is 60 feet, 5, 10.
No, you're in.
Yeah, you're in range.
Okay.
You're in range.
Alright, I'll shoot at the other one then.
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, my brain. 7 plus 8.
That's a hit.
15.
Roll for damage.
Yay. That is 9,
9.
and then I'll add my D4 to that one.
D4, yep, go ahead.
Where did I put my D4? I literally just had it.
I hate that.
Okay, there it is. Sorry. I'm tired.
That's I know what you're
It's
feeling.
okay.
It's
That was a
okay.
1.
Next week we'll be playing at the normal time. Yep, that's okay. That 1 point of damage was all that was needed. The ghast looks at you, your arrow hanging from its chest, and it rears back ready to charge at you, but then a bolt of psychic energy surges from your arrow, striking it dead. And that is the end of combat.
Oh, it just sort of collapses to her knees, pulls Blinky out of Kunga, who's just like looking at him going, you could have mentioned it was a zombie beholder. No, don't give me that look. You know damn well what we're talking about here.
I'm
That
gonna
really
go.
bad.
I'm gonna go to Zinhorn and cast Cure Wounds. On
Yep.
him. Just need to look up what cure. I think it's a D8, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a D8 per level plus your modifier, wisdom for you.
It's actually a good idea. I might do the same to myself, because I could have crack-loaded that as well.
Yes.
I give Zinhorn 11 health.
Yeah.
So Zinhorn climbs back to his feet, groaning in pain. The front of his serpent scale armor just got a big scorch mark from the disintegration ray.
I got 17 points of health back. Not nearly enough to make up for the 38 I took, but, you know, I'm not dead in the next 5 minutes.
However, the streets are once again quiet, save for the buzzing of insects and the normal sounds of the jungle. Now that the cart has been thrown aside, you can get a good look at the person trapped underneath. It appears to be a knight of some sort wearing a shining suit of plate armor.
Can I look at the armor? I'm trying.
Yes, you can. You may make an investigation check.
Follow nose, three.
What is investigation? Is intelligence?
Yes,
isn't
it is.
So that's a 19.
You walk over to the fallen knight. He's still grasping his sword. It looks like he was locked in battle with the beholder when the cart fell onto the both of them. Perhaps thrown either by one of his friends who didn't care much about him, or another third enemy. And you notice that both the hilt of his blade and his chest have a singular mark upon them. It is a marking of what appears to be a metal boot standing on top of two crossed swords.
Would any of us, perchance, know what this is?
Bulb would likely not. Ava would likely not. However, Sir Lucian, you may make an intelligence check. Because you may have seen this, being a officer of the Lord's Alliance.
Ooh.
How are we doing, Sir Lucian? I know your intelligence is +0, so just a d20. I'll roll it. So that's a 12. So, yeah, Sir Lucian recognizes this symbol. And, Sir Lucian, you recognize this as a symbol of a mercenary group that you worked with during your days in the military many, many years ago. This military group, last thing you heard, had reformed into an order of paladins, and their name is the Order of the Metal Sabatons.
Fun.
Okay. So what condition is the top of the armor in?
The armor appears to be in astoundingly good condition. It clearly has not been here that long. This guy may have died only hours ago.
Okay, well, Bulb would like to... Does he have any, dog tags or anything?
He does not, unfortunately. There are no marks or anything on him to identify him as a person. But when you lift his helmet off his head, you find the beardless but very grim, stony face of what appears to be a Goliath underneath.
So this is, really big armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, damn, I don't know how to speak with dead.
Would the armor fit in the
It
bag
would,
of holding that I
yeah,
have?
it would. And as you lift the helmet off his head, you feel magical energy surging through your hands.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Oh, I don't have Identify. Druids don't have
I
Identify.
I do have an Arcana check.
Yep, go ahead, Bobbit.
Oh,
do an
yeah,
arc-
sorry. I forgot that's what
Yep.
we use Arcana checks for.
amongst other things.
Do you
But,
want,
amongst other things.
yep.
I'll do
Do
it
you
because
wanna-
I'm holding it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not holding the helmet. I'm just sitting there having a shouting match with Blinky. Just angry, disappointed parent yelling.
I walk over to Bobbit and go, sorry to interrupt, but can you do this for me?
Yep.
I
Bobbit,
got a 7.
you get a 7. Go ahead, Bobbit.
Just sees you come over and looks at me and goes, sure, hold on 1 second. Just looks at Blink and goes, this is not over. And that's an 18.
Much better.
8. So the what Bulb described as magical energy is not from an enchantment, but rather from the material. This is, from what you can tell, an otherwise ordinary set of plate armor, but it's made out of adamantine.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
As adamantine armor, it will grant whoever wears it. It will grant whoever wears it. Where's the armor upgrades? There we go. I have to look at my own table here.
Yeah.
Whoever wears it will get to choose between either resistance to critical hits or a +1 on con saves. Once you choose which effect, that is permanently what its effect will be.
Now, does this require attunement, or is this just a bonus?
It's just a bonus from the material. This armor's actually not magical.
It's plate armor though, so it's only heavy armor, isn't it?
Yeah, it's heavy armor.
Solution's
It's the
getting a new
heaviest.
accessory.
So so Lucian's getting this when it can be resized.
Yes. So, Sir Lucian, what effect would you like from this adamantine armor? Would you like it to give you resistance to critical hits, or would you like it to grant you +1 to con saves?
So, Lucian?
We got an M1.
He's muted at the moment, it seems.
That's okay. It's M1.
Well,
We can't put it on right now anyway.
yeah.
Until it's
So I'll just take it
resized,
and
so-
I'll put it
Yeah.
in my bag of holding.
Yep.
So it takes up 2 slots because it's a large thing,
Yes,
isn't it? It's armor,
yes.
so it's large. So it's
Yes. 2 slots.
teen plate armor.
Yes. With that, you may continue on your journey, or perhaps you were ready to continue on your journey, but as you begin to walk through the marketplace, you suddenly hear a metallic swing as several swords are drawn in unison, and then a man's voice booms out, "Halt! What is your business here?" You look ahead, and in the haze of the humid air, you can see three figures walking down a cobblestone street towards you, each of them brandishing a sword, and each of them clad in identical suits of armor.
Oh. Goody.
What do you do?
Boet will, I suppose, stand up, look at the knights and go, "Oh, hello there. What brings you here?"
The three... Yep, go ahead, finish.
Just like, we just stumbled across your friend. He, looks like he had some unfortunate accident with these, zombies here.
The 3 knights step out into the marketplace, and they see the body of their comrade, now stripped of his armor, which is now sitting in Bulb's bag of holding. They look at
You know that, though?
Yeah, they look at you, although you cannot see any expression, any hint on what they're thinking through their thick helms. The one in the middle, still brandishing his sword, barks, "What is your business here?"
We have come to visit the local tribe.
He says,
And,
"Yes, go bob it."
I was just gonna say, we're also here to explore the city on urgent business from Waterdeep.
That's true.
Would you like to name drop and push your Would you like to name drop your status as Lady Silverhand's retainer?
Oh, I suppose that's probably a good idea for a mercenary company. Yes, just there, Vera Priest stands up and goes, we're also here on official business from Waterdeep, and as a retainer of Lady Silverhand, we are trying to get to the local tribe to establish a foothold in this city."
Please make a persuasion check with advantage.
Oh, you shouldn't have. Let's see, 15 plus 7, 22.
3 knights look at each other. They take a few steps forward silently, still brandishing their weapons. And then they all stare in unison at Bobbit. Eventually, one of them shrugs his shoulders and looks at the other 2. All 3 sheath their swords, and then the knight in the middle simply looks at you and says, "The city of Mezro is under the domain of Lieutenant Yindala Broken Barrel of the Order of the Metal Sabaton. Are you aware of this fact?"
Bobbit's eyes narrow slightly and go, "No, I had not been made aware of this situation. Was this a recent undertaking?"
The knight looks at his companions, and then he looks at you. He says, "Lieutenant Broken Barrel has had this post going on 5 years. He says
Strange,
the penalty for trespassing within the city of Mezro without prior written agreement from our order is death. Are you aware of this?"
I was not aware of such an order, nor was I aware of such a posting. No one had, including Lady Silverhand, had mentioned this previously.
He looks at the other two knights, and then he takes a step forward, his hand still on the hilt of his blade, and he says, Given your status, I will allow your ignorance to slide this once, on the condition that you accompany us to Promise immediately to meet with Lieutenant Broken Barrel and explain your business to her yourself.
I take it this is less of a request and more of an order?
The knight simply nods.
Bulb raises his hand.
Bulb raises his hand. The knight to the left steps forward and says, You there, elf folk, be you friend or foe?
I befriend?
Are you a member of this noble woman's entourage?
No.
I look around as if to just go, well, I'm walking with them, aren't I?
Yes, just...
I do the thing from, even though I haven't seen it, Pulp Fiction. He's just looking around like, yes, I'm with them, aren't I?
He shrugs and he says, You're lucky the leader of your entourage appears to be a woman with sense and status. Otherwise, I would dash your head upon the stones of this very marketplace right now and be done with it.
So say, I would sincerely advise against that. He is one of my closest confidants, and I would really hate for anything to have to get back to Lady Silverhand about the conductings of your order.
Immediately the knight reaches for his blade and he says, Are you threatening a conquest paladin of the Order of the Metal Sabaton?
No, I'm
ignorant buffoon.
And Bob was just sitting here going, no, as a retainer of Waterdeep, I'm reminding you of your position and standings as opposed to my own. I would rather there not be any further ill conduct between us. We simply have business here in the city, and we would prefer to not have to cross paths. What blades?
All I did was raise my hand to ask a question, which I thought was polite, instead of just blurting it out.
Understandable. He simply has a question.
The middle knight raises his hand, signaling for his companion to simmer down, and then he looks over at Bulb and he says, Ask your question.
How did your leader get the name Broken Barrel?
The knights look at each other, and then, surprisingly, all three of them immediately burst into raucous applause.
Okay, that was not the reaction I was expecting, but...
Yeah, wow, okay.
I'll take it.
The knight looks at you and says, Lieutenant Yindala Harkathi is able to break a barrel by slamming her head into it.
Interesting party trick.
He then places his hand on the hilt of his blade again, and he says, Now, will you be accepting our offer, or will it come to blows?
Well, I lean into Bobbit. Well, we seem to be going there anyway. We may as well take a guide.
I would prefer not coming to blows after what just happened.
Yes, I'm less than 100%, but I'm still wary of these people. They seem less than friendly when it comes to dealing with business, but I suppose everyone else on board with this?
Cautiously.
Yep.
Go. Very well, we will postpone our business for the time being to be accompanied to your promise, was it?
Very well, follow along to Promise, says the knight. And as he turns around, he looks at the corpse that was lying underneath the cart, and he looks at the face, and then he says, Somebody appears to have taken Argus's armor off him. He
Did we only take the helmet?
No, I took all the
Bolt
armor.
took the whole
Oh.
set.
I took the whole set.
He immediately looks over his shoulder at you. Do you say anything?
Bulb doesn't say a damn thing. He's still glaring at the one that was like.
Technically, Bobbit was busy yelling at Blinky, so she didn't see him take it off, so she doesn't know anything of this.
Yeah, I don't say anything. I'm just glaring at the paladin that
Yeah, the one that
sassed me.
Yes.
Yeah. There's awkward
Bobbit
silence.
can say, I was going to say, Bobbit can just look and say, we did just recently fight a zombie beholder. While it's not as powerful as a true one, there's no doubt it had some form of disintegration ray. Over a weaker set, it might have possibly destroyed his armor. I looks at Zinhon and said, you were hit by that previously, barely hit by it before, and it did a lot of damage, didn't it?
It hurts.
Bobbit, please make a deception check.
Solid. That is a 19.
A 19. The knight simply shrugs and he says, huh, if Argus was weak enough to be bested by the filth that inhabits these ruins, then he deserves no longer to wear the armor of this order. Come along. So they lead you into the ruins of Mezro. There is awkward silence as you walk along behind them. They seem to know exactly where they are going, leading you through the vine-choked streets, past pools of stale jungle water, and through what were once several grand bazaars and courtyards, as they lead you towards Promise. Is there anything you would like to do as they lead you to their settlement?
You moved the wrong marker there.
Oh yeah, I did move the
that's
wrong
the-
marker. That was the temple. No, they're not strong enough to move the temple.
We'd be in a lot of trouble if they could. I don't know.
I'm just keeping an eye out to see if, as we get closer, I can count how many paladins there are here.
Yep, very well. You walk in silence, not attempting to strike up conversation with them, and considering how your relations with them have been so far, this is probably a good thing. Eventually, they reach their destination. A settlement slumps on stilts over the lake, straddling the old city and the jungle beyond. Its gantries scale Mezro's outer walls, while ramshackle jetties provide berths for boats on the water. On the muddy shore, a tavern has been raised among the intertwined roots of a giant eucalyptus tree, and you can see throngs of members of the Paladin Order milling about in this ramshackle settlement, moving in and out of the tavern, chatting in the streets, transporting supplies, or simply standing at attention. I would like Bulb to please make a perception check.
That's a 14.
As the paladins lead you up the city wall, across a recently repaired patch of stone flooring, and then across a wooden bridge descending down into the settlement, you try to keep count of all of the people you see milling around. And by your count, there are at least 90 souls in this small settlement. However,
Did you say
do
90?
Yes. However,
Okay.
they do not all appear to be paladins or knights. You notice that most of them are not wearing plate armor, but are rather dressed in simple leather tunics or gambesons. They're, instead of being armed with blades, they're armed with clubs or maces. You see a couple of people wearing garb that suggests they are acolytes or priests. The paladins lead you to the largest hut in the settlement, which appears to have been repurposed out of what remains of a stone watchtower on the outskirts of Mezro. A pair of knights stand guard on the gantry outside, and underneath the hut, 3 human-sized cages are suspended over the swamp water below by ropes and pulleys. Each cage currently contains a single prisoner, a malnourished-looking male halfling, a rather bruised and beaten female high elf, and a wiry human man with a rat-like face. All 3 prisoners simply stare at your entourage as you approach. The 2 knights on guard salute your escort and stand aside. The knight who's been doing most of the talking so far gestures towards the hut, and he says, "Lieutenant Broken Barrel awaits. Be on your best behavior."
Thank you, I suppose. I'll head on in, I guess.
Anything would you like to remark on the prisoners?
Yeah, Bowl would like to ask, what did they do to be imprisoned like that?
One of the knights looks at you and he says, "Thought they would go looking for treasure in the city, didn't they?"
So, when you say that the punishment is death, it's not immediate death, it's brought back here to be starved and
Drawn out?
left to the elements.
The knight just nods. He says, "If you're going to conquer someone, conquer their will."
Olb just starts getting flashbacks.
There's a tired sigh coming from Bobbit. Just,
This owl folk's eyes are already wide naturally, but they just get wider, and he just 1,000-yard stare walks after the escort.
You walk up the ramp leading to the entrance of Broken Barrel's hut, and as you do so, the prisoners wail from the cages, "Help us, please!" As you do your best to ignore them, continue walking up the walkway. One of the knights looks down at the cages and he says, "Oi! What I say? Silent! You're gonna pay for that!" With that, he reaches over and begins to turn a stone crank, lowering the cage containing the rat-faced human into the swamp water below. The main room of Broken Barrel's hut appears to be some kind of audience chamber, bare save for a large wooden table and a stone chair that, if you didn't know any better, you'd think was being used as a throne. It is the room and the table are heaped with treasures, feathered fans, golden shields, silver platters, and a fur mat stitched from hundreds of pelts. Beside the table is a very grand-looking gold-rimmed treasure chest with a big stone padlock on the front. Broken Barrel herself is seated in the makeshift throne. A woman who, if she was human, would look to be in her late 40s, early 50s. A severe, leathery face, lines and cracks carved into her skin, her eyes narrow, her black hair billowing down, unmaintained, onto her broad shoulders, turning grey at the tips. She towers over you, at least 9 feet tall, her eyes narrow as you enter her hut. She holds out a hand and simply barks an order. "Take a seat!"
Is the big stone chair currently empty?
No, she's sitting in it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I fly up and perch on the back of the chair.
perch on top of the throne. She looks up at you and frowns. What do the rest of you do?
I'll take a seat in front of her. I
Find a chair and just try and get to it before falling over.
I just keep dying in the background.
Are you gonna just cough and like slump over her treasure table?
Well, can I try and maintain some sort of ego? Be like, oh,
Yeah.
nothing, just a flesh wound.
Yeah, so you,
Multiple fleshes.
you cough over your armor, you cough over your body and you brush dirt off your armor and arms and you say, ha, just a flesh wound, as you pull out a seat and sit down at the stone table. Zinhorn, Bobbert, and Ava, what would you like to do?
I will simply just take a seat in front of her and just wait to hear what this is going to be about, because I'm sure this will be just delightful.
Yeah, I'll take a seat.
Ava, I would like you to roll a perception check, please, as you take a seat.
Oh no. That is a 9.
Would a naturally high perception do anything here?
It's okay. She still sees some of this as Ava sits down. She's naturally drawn to all the treasure, because this is Ava, and it's shiny. And scattered in amongst the treasure, you notice a sort of trophy mounted on the wall of the hut. A wooden board containing a large eagle's head.
Do I immediately fly into a rage?
It's up to you. Do you immediately fly into a rage?
Can I tell more about this?
Well, you didn't,
Trophy?
because you only got a 9, so all you can see is that this is a large eagle head. Without getting closer, you'd be unable to tell if it's just a head from a giant eagle, or if it is, sadly, a Aarakocra head.
We see many Aarakocra outside in the village.
No, you didn't see any in Promise. Which, knowing that they do live inside the royal aviary, that makes sense.
Can I, upon seeing it, move closer to inspect it?
Yep, make a stealth check.
Cautiously.
Make a stealth check to edge closer to it.
That is... What's my stealth? 18 plus 4.
You make a show of shifting your seat, ostensibly to get a better view of the Goliath in front of you, so that you can actually see her face through the piles of treasure that are laid out on the tables. And as you move further across the table, you position yourself almost directly under the trophy. And once you get close to it, you're able to notice at the base of its neck, underneath the tattoo, underneath the feathers, a small black tattoo, the marking of a priest of your tribe.
I will very angrily ask... I can't roleplay right now. Ask her to explain herself.
The Goliath looks at you, and then she looks at Bulb, and she smiles, and she says, "Oh, sometimes the bird folk can be fun little pests to hunt."
Can I murder her?
Oh, I was going to say,
What armor is she wearing?
From what you could tell, plate armor.
I cast heat metal at 3rd level.
Okay, then.
it would seem that negotiations... Some would say negotiations have broken down. I think it's safe to say they never began.
Okay.
So it's 3rd level.
Go ahead and roll your damage for casting.
And I want to go and fly straight towards her with my swords.
Very well.
hold on.
I assume everyone knows what's going on at this point.
In rage.
Yeah, she's just gone, seen the thing, and just flown straight at them, but okay.
Okay, so I get to roll the damage straight away, which is going to be 3d8 because I cast it at 3rd level. She has to make a Constitution saving throw, or spend as long as it takes to get out of her armor.
Yep, okay. I'm going to have her make a Constitution saving throw. Let me get her stat block up, because I should have expected this, but I did not. But luckily I did prepare for
I
it.
get the feeling this is a massive mistake, but...
Yeah,
good people are.
Okay,
you kind of dangled the corpse of one of Ava's people in front of her. That's that was never going to be a good opening number.
Okay. Not Moon. Okay. She rolls. It's a con save.
Yeah.
She rolled a 16.
That's a save, but she still takes the 10 damage.
She opens her mouth to say something else, but then Bulb raises his hands in the air from where he's perched on the back of her throne and barks the incantation for heat metal, and her sentence turns almost immediately into a scream of indignation and pain. She immediately stands up from her throne, reaches for her back, where you see a humongous double-sided great axe, which she immediately draws with a metallic swing, and it seems all pretense of negotiation has left her mind. She opens her mouth and barks, "To arms! Exterminate the pests!" The door to her hut swings open, and knights come running in. She looks at you as the knights draw their weapons. She says, "This is your last chance. Submit now, or fight to the death."
How many are there?
3 knights have entered the room, but you know there are more outside.
So just needs to go outside.
Do I have time to cast Cure Wounds on myself? Actually, I'll probably just take a healing potion before we start this crap.
You don't have a chance to take a healing potion. Everything's gone to shit. If you make a movement now, they're gonna run you through with their swords.
Okay.
I don't think of a justifiable reason for them to kill any of my people.
That is true, but
someone's gonna have to either convince me to not kill them, or
force
I'm gonna
you.
kill them.
Or join in and
Or
help
force
you.
them.
You might be able to at least fight your way out of this hut and then just jump into the water and get away from the settlement. But
Yeah,
you'll have
'cause
made enemies of this order for all your time in Mezro.
Fuck them.
I was gonna say,
Fuck them in the ass.
I would say fighting would be a great option, except for the fact that we are smack bang in the middle of their camp.
Well, I mean, you can fight your way out of this hut and then escape the camp. All you have to do is just jump off the walkways into the water below. But you'd have to then make your way back
to
through
use
the
the
city.
dragon is hardcore.
Yeah, that is.
Do we have a map for this or no?
I'm currently in the process of sourcing a map.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
How did you not
wow,
expect this?
you were really, you somehow really shit the bed on this one. How
I
did
mean,
you not think that
by
this was
that
gonna
I
go?
mean I have the battle map. I didn't have it set up in Owlbear because I thought
Yeah,
they're not
expecting
going to
this.
fight her. They're going to at least wait for an explanation.
Well, so
I wasn't
she's
intending
yelled
for you to-
out.
Explanation was shit.
So she's yelled out, surrender, or submit, or something.
Yeah,
pretty much.
she's yelled out, "This is your last chance. Submit or fight to the death."
I raise my hand, hopefully distracting her, and go, hey, I was just showing you that maybe we're not so much fun to hunt.
Okay. I would like you to please make a persuasion check with disadvantage.
With disadvantage. If I pass this will be a fucking miracle.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's
no.
roll between net 20s, then when
Two new dice. Come on.
We're about to fight to the death, aren't we?
That's a 1.
Yeah.
A 1.
She's
Okay.
listening to
I
us
will
about as much as
respond to her. I will respond to her by moving directly into combat range with my swords.
Okay, well, this is fun.
Okay, well,
I'm just
we're
going
fighting
to
her
put
now.
everyone on the map. Give me a moment. This is a good
Wow.
way to end the session, though, because I was going to wrap up
Yeah.
after you spoke to her. So this is a good way to.
Yeah, speaking. I don't. Yeah, well, speaking to her implies that we actually said anything.
Because I think I have
Move
like
the
3 sessions worth of content for Mezro, so this is okay.
Yay! Mhm.
So Ava could go here. Very well. Just going to add Bobbit to the map now, and then the Knights. Sorry, bear with me. I didn't have. I wasn't expecting you to fight her here. I was expecting you to fight her next week in the dungeon. But
Yeah, again, you kind of. I don't know what you were expecting from dangling a dead member of Ava's family.
that
in
is
front of her.
entirely fair.
That wasn't so much as a red. You know how you normally have like the red rag in front of a bull? No, you basically just had a bonfire in front of a friggin' crate of TNT. I don't know what you were expecting with that, except for it to go to shit.
I thought that maybe, like, you might wait for the explanation, but it's
Her
okay.
explanation was shit.
Well, her explanation so far was nothing.
Well, it was that they were pests. We're not
Yes,
pests.
they were pests, and you were fun to hunt. But yes, okay,
It's a priest.
Yes, I know he was the priest, but to her, he's just a bird person, which is, I admit, justification to launch into a rage at her. So
yeah, you don't kill
Yeah.
a priest in cold
please
blood. That's
roll
just
for
not
initiative as Broken Barrel grips her double-bladed great axe, ready to fight, and the knights outside who escorted you here draw their swords.
fun. 17.
17 for M2,
11.
11 for Remy.
So just to clarify, we all know what's happening here, right? We're not just going, wait, why is Ava flying into a rage?
Oh, I mean, you can put 2 and 2. I mean, I know that Bulb and Zinhorn are probably
17.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's
22.
pretty obvious. Oh, Ava, did you actually point out the trophy to the rest of the party?
Yeah, I asked her to explain it.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, so you all know.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
I got
Okay.
a 25.
25 for Zinhorn, wow. Okay, and enemies are at 15. Nice, okay, so I will grab the boss battle music and we will begin.
Oh great, the enemies are before me. I'm gonna die in the first round.
I do
Probably,
have
yeah.
to say, this is the first time you have actually caught me off guard.
Hey!
Okay,
Woo!
but it's okay. I did prepare for this eventuality. Okay. Smithy, Zinhorn, you're up first.
So the first thing that Zinhorn does is, after the efforts of the last battle, is beast shape into a giant constrictor snake.
Ooh,
Oh.
yes.
And then
Alright, guides with us.
Oh yeah. Would you like them to be involved in the combat, or would you like them to run and hide somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the snake lady would probably run and hide, but the barbarian would probably just be like, "Ooh, a fight."
Yeah.
I'll put them on the map, so you just...
They can handle themselves, can't they? They can help.
Yep, okay. So I'll put them both in.
Well, MS. Yes, Mijaru proved himself last week. That's for
He
sure.
did. He did.
Oh, that's right. No one else was here. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mijaru helped and stood his ground quite well. So
He did. He
Hmm.
did.
Mm.
Okay, let me get all the stat blocks I need. And Zinhorn, after you turn into a giant constrictor snake, what would you like to do?
I go straight for Broken Barrel,
Yep.
and sorry, I constrict.
Ooh, okay. Roll to hit her, please.
Please,
That is a 18.
Unfortunately, your 18 does not hit. You try to constrict your body around her form, but with her plate armor, no matter how hard you squeeze, she doesn't seem to give, and she quickly grabs hold of you with one of her gauntlets and tosses you off her body. Ava, you're up.
Okie dokie. So first, I will use my bonus action
Yep.
to cast Hunter's Mark.
On her?
Yep.
Yep. You point at her and mark her as your
Yep.
prey, avenging this poor priest.
Yep. And I will use my first short sword attack.
Yep. Rush up to her, roll to hit.
And that is a non-natural 20.
That is a hit. Roll for damage.
That is... 8.
8 points of damage plus your 1d4.
Plus an extra d6.
Oh, yep, for your hunter's mark
with,
and your d4.
whenever I hit with a weapon attack.
That's right, with your hunter's mark.
So that's another 5.
Yep, plus your d4.
And my d4, which is a 3.
3, nice, nice. 14
And
points of
now
damage.
I will hit her with my second weapon attack.
Yep. Go ahead.
And that is like 18 plus 8.
18 plus 8, that is 16. Unfortunately...
18 plus 8.
18 plus 8, yeah, that's a hit. Roll for damage.
Yeah. So that is 7, and then plus another d6.
Yep.
3.
7 plus... Yep, 10, okay. She growls at you, and she says, "You need to be put down like the rest of your kind." It is now Bobbitt's turn.
Okay, what to do? Well, Adele, I just sent your message just to mull over while we're in the middle of this.
Yep.
Just need to do something before those knights come in. So I would like to move myself pretty much next to where Sir Lucian is.
Yep. So move up to Sir Lucian. Leaping over the table.
Yep.
Standing beside him.
And I would like to cast Burning Hands out the door at all 3 knights.
Ah, okay. Yes.
Because I'm working on that these guys are definitely not going to be dexterous in like full metal armor, and fire will be fun to work with.
No, they are definitely not dexterous.
Wonderful. Well, let's work with that plan then, shall we?
Go ahead.
So that's going to be 4d6. Oh, they have to make dex throw saves first.
Yes, they do have to make dex saves, so let's see. That would be a 6, a 2, and a 3.
So, yes, they are definitely not very dexterous. Okay. Okay, let's definitely this. I'm going to get more bloody dice out for this sort of thing. All 3 of them take 18 points of fire damage, and
Nice.
I assume since the place outside is made of wood, that's probably on fire now. Where they're all
Yes.
standing. The whole area is just on fire with them now.
The walkway leading away from the hut catches a flame, preventing any more knights from joining into the battle, as there's no way around other than jumping down into the water 20 feet below.
Yeah, so all three of those guys are now basically...
So as the flames crackle, you see more knights and acolytes just gathering around behind it, shouting, brandishing their weapons as they watch the fight begin to unfold.
Lester just looks back over her shoulder at Broken Barrel and goes, well, that's that problem solved. Now for this.
Okay, it is the enemy's turn. Broken Barrel swings at Ava with her great axe. That is a 23 to hit. Ava takes 9 points of bludgeoning damage, plus Broken Barrel will use a spell slot to add a smite to that.
Oh dear.
So Ava, you take an additional 13 points of necrotic damage, and you must make a wisdom save.
Just a straight wisdom save?
Yep.
That is a 16.
A 16, you pass. The smite does not make you frightened of Broken Barrel. Broken Barrel then turns her attention to Bulb, and using a spell slot, she casts... let me see... She casts Command. She looks at Bulb, and she says, "Oh, little birdie, drop your weapon now and grovel before me. Make a wisdom save, please, Bulb."
Isn't command a single word?
Yeah, it's a single word.
Yeah, but the command, she emphasizes the word grovel.
Oh, so I wouldn't actually need to drop my weapon.
No.
Okay, so what save was it?
Wisdom.
Come on.
It's time for you to pass something by a country mile. This would be it.
Ho-ho! That is a 7 plus 19.
You feel an invisible hand pressing down against your spine, but you resist and stay standing straight. Broken Barrel roars. "The might of the metal sabotage will crush you into the dirt."
What's our group's name? Did we come up with one?
The Infighters, I believe.
We had Infighters. I believe at one point we were calling ourselves the Emerald Enclave Experience featuring Solution.
Sir
But
Lucian.
we never really came up with an actual official title.
Okay.
Aren't we just the court of Queen Bobbit?
Yeah, you're the court of Queen Bobbit now, the Stoneland Squad.
We don't. We could come up with a name that's not solely centered around me.
Knight number 2 runs into the cabin and raises his sword at Bobbit. Okay.
Wait, if the area he was standing on is on fire, would he take any fire damage?
No,
from that?
it's just the area behind them to prevent reinforcements.
Just checking. Yeah.
He makes 2 attacks with his greatsword. The first one is a non-natural 20, so that is a hit. So
Okay.
Bobbit, you take 13 points of slashing damage. And the second attack is an 11, so his sword
that one doesn't
smashes
work.
at your breastplate, but does
really
not
for a heal
hit
right about
you.
now.
Knight number 1 moves into the room. He rushes up to Salida and makes a multi-attack against her. And he doesn't hit her at all. She manages to dodge both of the blows, ducking and then jumping as his sword swings through the air. Knight number 3 rushes in. He moves up to Sir Lucian, brandishes his greatsword and charges. And he hits Sir Lucian once. Sir Lucian, that is 9 points of slashing damage that you get. Finally, at the end of his turn, Knight number 1 uses a bonus action to use his leadership ability, which allows a non-hostile creature within 30 feet of him to make an attack roll. And he allows Broken Barrel to make an attack against Bulb with advantage.
Ah, shit.
Broken Barrel roars and swings her great axe at Bulb. And she rolls an 18 to hit.
That hits.
Bulb, you take 10 points of bludgeoning damage, and she spends a spell slot to smite you. Necrotic damage surges through her axe, and you take an additional 16 points of necrotic damage. Okay.
A lot of people need healing at the moment now.
Mujara raises his axe, and he says, I may be small, but the bigger you are just means the harder you fall, lassie. He brandishes his axe and runs up to Broken Barrel, who is now flanked between him and Ava. He uses his bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark on her, just like Ava, and then he swings with his hand axe with advantage, but unfortunately cannot pierce her plate armor. Selida uses her bonus action to disengage, and then she rolls stealth, hiding somewhere unseen in the shadows. Sir Lucian, it is your turn.
Aye, let us do this. Alright. I'm relocked into combat with Knight 3. I'm going to use both my extra attack and this attack on Knight 3.
Go ahead.
Kill this bastard.
Roll to hit him.
Shaking.
Knight versus
That
Knight.
is a 10. What's his AC?
His AC is 18, so 10 plus your to hit modifier.
Oh, 10 plus 4.
Yes, 14.
Hit modifier not quite there.
Yep. You swing your sword and he parries it with his own blade. Would you like to try again?
Let's try again.
Go ahead,
Yes,
roll to
please.
hit him.
Oh, what the? Oh my god. I just rolled it and it landed perfectly in between the bed sheets. What the? Alright. Yeah, miss.
Miss, yep. You swing again. You strike him, but your sword just clangs uselessly on the front plate of his armor. Okay. Bulb, it is your turn. You are prone.
Well, good thing is, what I want to do doesn't need me to be standing. I use my bonus action to reactivate heat metal.
Yep.
So she's going to need to roll Constitution again.
Yep.
She takes the 5 damage first, doesn't
Yeah,
she?
takes 5 damage first, yes.
She rolled a 17 on her con.
Damn it, that's a pass again. And that's 10 damage.
10 damage. She continues shrieking in pain and she says, "You belong on the floor!"
And then I'm going to cast... That was my bonus action, so... My action, I can't cast Healing Word, unfortunately. However... Healing Spirit is also a fucking... bonus action. You see? Fuck off. I'm going to cast... How much health is Ava on?
43.
43. Ava seems to be doing
Okay.
alright.
Yeah.
I could use some health though.
Yeah, the problem is I would need to move to get to you, which would take attack of opportunity.
Right. Never mind.
And I use my bonus action to reactivate the spell.
Yep.
I'm going to use my action to cast Dissonant Whispers on Broken Barrel.
Alright. What does she need to roll?
Looking it up now. I believe it's a Wisdom save, but I'm looking it up now. Wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom? Okay, she rolls wisdom. She rolled a 14.
He fails. She's going to take 12 points of damage and must use her reaction to run as far away from me as possible.
Ooh, and you know what that's gonna do? She rushes
Attack of opportunity by
from
3
Ava
people.
and Mujarab and Bulb as she runs into the adjacent room.
Mine will be
I
at
just
disadvantage
deleted her. So just delete it, I have to bring it back.
Mine will be at disadvantage, won't it? Because I'm prone.
Yes, yours will be at disadvantage, but
Yep.
Ava's and Mujarab's will not be. So Ava, go ahead.
Okay, that is an 18 plus 8.
That's a hit. Roll for damage.
That is a 10. Do I get the d6 on that too, because it's a weapon attack?
Yeah. If Hunter's Mark still works.
So 10 plus 4. So 14.
Broken Barrel roars, "Enough of your incessant bird song!" and jumps out of her throne, rushes past you. Ava, you lash out with your short sword, striking a weak point on her armor. Mujarab throws his hand axe, but it sails uselessly past her, embedding itself into the wall, and she darts into the next room.
And Bulb misses. Her AC is higher than 17, I presume.
Yeah, her AC's 19.
As I swing, I yell after her, "You may find that the willpower of us is better than the willpower of you."
Zinhorn, your turn.
I'm going to chase after her,
Yep. Still in your
And
snake form.
still in snake form, and I'm going to try and constrict her again.
Yep. What's the movement speed of your snake?
The movement speed of snake is 30 feet.
30 feet. Yep, you can reach her in her bedroom at the southern end of the hut. Go ahead and roll to constrict her.
It's 16 plus 6, so it's 22.
22, that's a hit. Roll for damage.
So what is the damage of a snake? 2d8, okay.
And would that mean that she's now constricted?
Well, she
That
has to...
is
She's
10 points
she's
of
grappled.
damage. She's
Yep.
now grappled.
Escape
Excellent.
DC 16. She's going to make an athletics check to try to escape that now. And she rolled a 15. So you managed to wrap your body around her. She groans, "Ugh! Reptiles! Just as bad as those feathered freaks!"
And you were still calculating damage, weren't you? Sorry.
So, yes. Yes, takes... did you roll the damage?
Yeah, 10 points of damage.
10 points of damage, yep. Okay. It is now Ava's turn.
It sure is. And so she's grappled now, yes?
Yes.
Cool, so does that give me advantage?
It does. It's the same as her being prone, so you'd like to chase after her?
Oh yeah, and I'm going
Alright.
to use all 3 of my attacks.
Yep, you rush in, finding yourself in Broken Barrel's bedroom, where Zinhorn's large snake has constricted around her, preventing her from moving. Go ahead and roll to hit her with advantage.
Okay. Alright, 14 plus 8.
14 plus 8. That is a hit. Roll for damage.
Yeah, so my d6, I got 6 plus 5, so 11. My psychic damage, I got 4.
Yep. So
and
15
then my other
damage.
d6,
Yep.
I got 4.
Yep. So 19.
And now, for my offhand attack, that is 14 plus 7.
Yep. 14 plus 7. That's a hit.
And that is 6 plus 1, so 7. And then my second attack.
Yep.
So that is 12 plus 8, so non-natural 20.
Yep. That's a hit.
Yep. And that is 10 damage plus another 5, so another 15 damage.
15 damage. Not bad. Once you finish your flurry of attacks, you see Broken Barrel reach up and use her gauntlet to wipe away some blood off her face.
How though?
Well, she licks some blood. She licks some blood off her face, and then she glares at you and she says, "See what you've done! You've made me you've drawn blood!" Okay, Bobbit, you're up.
Bobbit looks around, looks at the situation we're in, sighs a little bit and goes, honestly, I didn't really want to use this so soon, but this is going to turn to a war zone anyway, so what the hey. Looks at Mr. Stick and goes, I hope you're paying close attention to this. I want to check this out later. And do I announce the name of the spell now, or do I just go and tell you what it does first?
You may read the description first. Well, first, before you do that,
what happened.
Before you describe the spell, please, for the sake of the audience and for M1, Kitty, and Smithy, please describe what happened in the off-screen side quest that gave Bobbit this ability.
During our lovely little adventure with Bobbit Bulb and a handful of NPCs, we came across some members of what we believe to be a traveling party who's fighting off some undead. They led us to a castle in the hopes of rescuing the remaining members of their party. However, upon arriving there, and after giving away several hints that they were not what they seemed, and after we were smart enough to figure it out, it turns out that they were actually minions, demonic minions of a, I believe it was called a
Babao.
Babao, who was using the castle as a means to try and capture souls, since due to the soulmonger and the death curse, there are no souls currently running around the afterlife. Noting what Bobbit may or may not be, Bobbit was probably the first person in history to ever strike up a bargain or a parley with these creatures, and for the sake, and in order to trade off letting her and her companions go, and a spell that she really should not have access to at this point. The correct terminology, and I'm putting this out there now just in case anyone else tries to point out anything, once her business in the material plane was finished, her soul would belong to this Babao. Also, there was some lovely offside stuff about Mr. Stick and possibly having dealings with this Babao's master, which I believe was Beelzebub.
That's correct.
Does that cover everything? Did I miss anything there?
Yep. So now reveal the spell that the Babao gave to you.
Well, I can reveal the name of the spell. I will detail what this does after I describe how it looks. This is the 6th level transmutation spell known as Tasha's Otherworldly Guise. So basically, you see Bobbit basically become, there's like an eruption of fire and smoke just around Bobbit, and for a split second nothing happens, and then the flames part, revealing still Bobbit, but very, very different. So as her skin is now a hellish red, her hat has somehow transformed into what looks like a very large, wicked curved horn going over the back of her head. Her hair is now jet black and now goes along her, down her back. 2 large, shadowy, spectral wings erupt out from behind her. Teeth become as fangs, fingers become as claws, and most notably, her eyes become a hellish red. However, there is also something that no one's ever seen before, since she's had a hat on this entire time. There is a 3rd eye in the middle of her forehead, and surrounding it, a blue triangle brand in her forehead. So what this lovely spell does is, uttering an incantation, you draw upon the magic of the lower planes or upper planes, your choice. This is lower planes. To transform yourself, you gain the following benefits until this spell ends. You're immune to fire, and I believe it was fire and necrotic damage from the lower planes. I am immune to the poison condition. Spectral wings appear on my back, giving me a flying speed of 40 feet. I have a +2 bonus to AC. All of your weapon attacks are magical, and when you make a weapon attack, you can use your spellcasting ability modifier instead of strength or dex for the attack and damage rolls. And most fun, I can attack twice instead of once when I take the attack action on my turn. Obviously, ignore this benefit if you have like an extra attack.
Which Bobbit does not.
But yeah, this is a 6th level spell Bobbit should not have access to. However, the deal is I only get 3 uses, and the reason why I asked Mr. Stick to pay attention to it is mostly due to I will be needing his help on something later.
Later, yes.
So basically, yes, Bobbit at this point now just looks like something that
Assumed
dragged
demon
itself
form.
solely out of the depths of hell, and just stares at all 3 of the knights in front of her and goes, "Shall I show you what true conquest is?"
I approve. I nod my snaky face.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys were the next room. You don't even know what's
we
going on.
can't
There's
even
like a
see
flash
it.
of, there's like a flash
Bulb
of
can.
light. You guys are Bulb's on the
I
floor
can't
just
see,
going.
but maybe be awesome.
Yeah, you're just going. I wonder what's going on in that room. Well, actually, you're probably just staring at the Broke Barrel, going, "I'm gonna freaking kill you." Bulb's probably on the floor going, "What the fuck am I looking at right now?"
And I'm a
And,
snake.
Yes, I am a murder chicken currently.
Fair enough. The fun part about that spell is, and this is what makes me the happiest, is that technically counts as a bonus action, so I
Yes.
now have 2 actions on my turn before we go.
Yes, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I will. So, Bobbit will basically look at all 3, the lovely line of, let's see what conquest is, and will just raise a small hand, and all of a sudden, out of her arm comes 3 silver tridents. This is basically Devilish Hunt, but it's going to look a little bit more menacing now since what's being conjured. And since I have an extra action, 1 action to cast the spell, but I also have another action to use one. So I believe Knight 2 is the one that hit me, correct?
Yes.
So yeah, Bolt will stare directly at him, point a finger, and go, "There's 1." And let's see, I'll roll to see if that actually hits. I'm going to assume a 22 hits.
22 indeed hits.
Wonderful. Can I get you to make a dex save, please?
The knight rolled an 8 on his dex save.
Wonderful. Well, he's going to take 8 piercing damage, and that thing is going to lodge itself straight into his flesh.
The silver
Can I roll
trident.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, random question. Can I roll an intimidation save since this
I'll
random
allow
person
it
just
this
turned
once.
into a demon? Just
Yeah,
this once.
I'll
It's
allow
bad,
it this
'cause
once.
the-
Go ahead, roll an intimidation check.
For flavor.
23 for flavor.
As
the
the,
knight's looking?
as the silver trident flies through the air and plunges into Knight 2, seemingly phasing through his armor, all 3 knights look at you in fear. Their lower lips begin to tremble. And then one of them looks at one of the others, and he says, "This isn't what we signed up for! God damn it! Why did we get assigned to the arse end of the swamp? Why couldn't we get to be the ones in the Waterdeep City Guard?"
Bad luck on your part, it seems. Also, that lovely little harpoon doesn't, like, phase through armor. That thing pierces
Yeah, it just goes
straight in.
Straight
This
through
dude
his
just has a
armor.
lovely chunk of silver just piercing through him. So, I guess that's the end of my turn. What else we got?
It is the enemy's turn. Broken Barrel, struggling under Zinhorn, uses her movement to attempt an athletics check. And she rolls an 18, breaking free, wrenching Zinhorn off her body and hurling him onto the floor. She then raises her hands and shouts, "I was going to civilize this! I was going to civilize this domain and make it my own!" She slams her axe into the ground and casts Crusader's Mantle. An aura of spectral energy flies out of her body, filling a 30-foot area around her, imbuing herself and all 3 of her knights with its power. And then she makes an attack on Ava. She rolls a nat 20
And I use my armband of resist to resist crits.
to resist the crits.
Nice.
So yes, just normal damage. So that will be 7 points of bludgeoning damage. plus 3 radiant damage from her Crusader's Mantle.
Yeah.
And she will smite you, and you take an additional 6 points of necrotic damage.
Oh, smite me, oh mighty smiter.
Someone had to say it.
It is now the enemy's turn. Knight number 1 uses a multi-attack on Bobbit with advantage, frightened of this horrible thing in front of him.
Right, so wouldn't it be disadvantage?
Well, that was for flavor only. So he got 3 misses and a nat 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so a miss. So yeah, he got a 13 and a nat 20. Basically, rolling his multi-attacks with advantage. So you take 22 points of slashing damage.
Okay, for flavor, Bobbitt's just gonna look at this sword sticking in her and just sort of look at him and goes, interesting. Also, outside of flavoring, I'm gonna need someone to heal me right freaking quick, because
Yeah, well,
shit hurts.
now that I'm not,
Snake.
now that I'm not locked next to
Yeah.
Broken Barrel, I can do some healing.
Knight number 2 makes a multi-attack against Sir Lucian, but is unable to strike the tank of a man. And Knight number 3 uses his leadership action, allowing Broken Barrel to make another attack. Broken Barrel attacks Ava with her Great Axe. That is a hit, but it's not a nat 20. Ava, you take 5 points of bludgeoning damage. You take 9 points altogether with an additional 4 points of radiant damage, and she will not use a smite this time. Mujarab rushes over to Knight number 1. Actually, no, he doesn't. He runs into the room and hurls his hand axe at Broken Barrel, who is his Hunter's Mark enemy, and unfortunately, he still can't hit her, because he only rolled a 10. Goddamn Karaturian axe! He shouts at the top of his lungs. Aye, it's just like those bloody crossbows I heard of those dwarves across the pond using.
Fuck off. Damn crossbows.
Selida reveals herself,
No, Missy.
attacking Knight 3 with her crossbow, hitting him, and dealing, with her attack and her sneak attack, 18 points of damage altogether. Veska takes a step back into the room into the next room, and she casts Shatter, right outside the front door, hitting Knights 2 and... Actually, right here, hitting Knights 2 and 3. They make dex checks. Both of them fail, and they take 16 points of lightning damage. And Knight number 2 screams as he goes down.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that metal in his gut would have conducted all that lightning damage. That would have sucked for him.
It is now Zinhorn's turn. Oh, sorry, no, it's Bulb. It's
Bulb's
Bulb's turn.
Bolts.
I'm going to use my bonus action to continue the burning.
Yep, of her
That
heat
one's
metal.
a bit better. That's 13 damage, and she needs to make a Constitution
Yep.
save.
She rolled a nat 1 on her con save.
She now needs to use as much time as it takes to take off
Yep.
plate armor.
She immediately
Jesus.
starts unbuckling her plate armor. However,
That has to be a few turns.
Yeah.
as she raises her arms, there is a flash of light, and her armor unclasps from her body.
She was the same goddamn thing as bloody Narful had.
Well-
I
Lands-
don't care. That takes off her fucking
Yeah.
armor.
And
That is
lands,
true though.
Start
lands-
hitting the bitch.
lands on the floor in front of her. She
I would
glares
love to
at
do
you.
that.
She glares at you, and she says, "Ah, by the gods, remind me to write that accursed Goliath back and tell him this armor is bloody worthless!
Oh,
No.
I see.
Okay, and then because movement from prone is just 5 feet of
That just
movement, isn't it?
makes the Aarakocra killing feel more personal.
Fair enough.
So I'm going to move to behind Sir Lucian,
Yep,
and I'm going to cast Cure Wounds at a 3rd level on Bobbit.
go ahead.
Oh.
Cure Wounds is 1d8 for each level, so 3rd level is 3d8. When I find all my d8s. So that is...
Any?
15 health.
I'll take
Not the
that.
best, but it's a hit.
It's significantly better than where I was at.
Yes. And that is my turns. Yes, so it's my
Sir
bonus and my action.
Lucian raises his sword. He looks at Bobbit's demonic form, and then he winks. He turns to Knight 3, and he says, I'll parry you into next week! And he uses parry on Knight 3, who failed to hit him. He rolls a 19, which is just enough to hit. So that will be 6 damage from his weapon, plus an 8 from his superiority die. That is 14 points of damage to Knight 3. Zinhorn, it is your turn.
On the sneaky snakes, I'm going to do what sneaky snakes do and constrict.
Strix again, yep, go ahead.
Hey, if you do that, she can't get her armor back on either.
Yes.
That is a 20.
And that
Dirty.
is a hit because her AC is now only 12.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I got rid of her armor for you, buddies!
Oh. I may have to disengage with Knight 1 here.
Oh, and that is math. That is 14 plus 4 is 18 points of damage from constriction.
Yep, lovely. You wrap your form around her now naked body, and she begins to gasp for breath as you choke the life out of her. She rolls an 8 on her athletics check and cannot escape as she is grappled. Ava, your turn.
Is she close to dead?
She's looking... Well, she's definitely looking a lot less fearsome not wearing armor now, so...
Alright, I'm going to, first of all, use a 2nd level Cure Wounds on myself.
Yep.
Where is my D8? There. Okay, so that's 2d8 plus my spell casting ability modifier. So that's wisdom, yeah? So
Yep.
plus 4?
Yep.
Alright, so 2d8 plus 4. So that is 6 and a 5. So 11 plus 4, so plus 15.
Yep. 50.
Cool.
That is a hit. Roll
back
for
up
damage.
to- Oh no,
Oh, yeah,
that was
sorry.
me
Oh, yeah, you're healing.
healing.
Yep.
Now I will use. So that was an action. I'll use my offhand. Oh wait, I'll use my
Yeah, your bonus
second
action.
attack action.
Well, you can only use your second attack if you use your first attack, but
Oh,
you
okay.
can use your
I
offhand
will use
weapon.
my offhand.
Yep, so go ahead. Roll to hit with it.
Actually, seeing she's grappled, I want to take a step back.
Yep.
To...
No opportunity attack from her because she's grappled.
So back to here.
Yep.
Roughly. So back a little bit. Yeah. And I will shoot her with. Oh wait, I can't shoot her, can I? Fuck.
Hey,
No, I'm an idiot. Never mind. Go back and I'll hit her.
why can't you shoot her?
Because that's a full action, it's not a...
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's right. Yeah, yep,
Ah.
yep, that's it. All right,
Is
you
that
roll with advantage anyway because she is grappled.
Yeah. Alright, so that is non-natural 20.
Non-natural 20. That's definitely a hit. Roll your damage. And
Yeah.
remember your favoured foe. You remember your hunter's mark damage too.
Yep. So that was a 6 plus 4 for that one. Math. So that's 10. Plus
4
my
plus your
D4.
1d4.
Yep, which was a 3.
Yep.
And then plus the D6, which was another 6.
Yep. You take a step closer, you look her in the eye as she struggles, and then you whisper, "Die," in Aarakocra, and plunge your sword into her bare throat. She begins coughing, spluttering blood, and struggling against Zinhorn's thick snake form. You simply smile as you press the blade deeper and begin to twist it. She struggles and coughs and continues squirming until she falls limp, dead at your hands.
Good.
It is Bobbit's turn.
Well, I was going to go and help deal with the broken barrel, but it looks like Ava's Mama Rage dealt with that one. So
It's okay, you've got these guys here.
Well, I guess that just leaves me with the pawns then. Oh well, I got 2 actions, I have 2 harpoons, so...
Let's do it.
Yeah, why not, So that's a 18 on one and a 25 on the other.
Both hit?
Wonderful. First one's going to take about 8 points of piercing damage. Make a dex save, please.
8
The other one,
points.
unfortunately, is going to cop a 12.
And they both fail their dex saves with a 10 and a 4 respectively.
So they get skewered.
And pierced onto the wall. However, that 12 points of damage is enough to kill Knight 3, and your trident pins his lifeless corpse to the wall.
Sadly, once I've used, I believe, where is Devilish Hunt? Yeah, once I've cast all 3, the spell does end, though.
Yeah.
It's a shame, because I was kind of hoping this one guy would be dumb enough to pull it out. But it's basically just going to sit there and stare at him as he's, dealing with a lovely massive hole in his chest now.
It is now the enemy's turn. Knight number 1 slashes at Bobbit with his multi-attack. And he misses both times as his blade scrapes against the demonic carapace of Bobbit's body, but is unable to pierce it.
She just sort of tilts her head to the side, just goes, "Aww."
Mujarib rushes forward, brandishing his hand axe. Ah! And now that Knight 1 is flanked, he rolls with advantage to hit, and he nat 20s, raising his axe and woof, with one fell swoop, cutting off Knight 1's head.
Okay.
The small hut is empty, but as the flames burning on the bridge outside begin to subside, you see 10 scores of knights, guards, and acolytes ready to rush in. What is your idea?
I have an idea as well. I want to take the head of Broken Barrel.
Yep.
And throw it on the porch outside.
Hey, fun fact, I had something similar on the idea. Actually, you mind if I take the head for a moment?
Okay, sure.
I'm basically doing something
You're
similar.
You're the queen.
Well, I mean, I do want to see the idea of Ava coming around the corner with the head going, "Hey guys, I have an eye. What the fuck is that thing?"
Yeah, because Bobbit's still there in demon form.
Yes. I have a few seconds left, so...
I'll be like, "You, young lady, have some explaining to do."
Yeah, she says, "You have some explaining to do," and then Bobbit looks at Ava and in a demonic voice says, "Give me the head, please."
You see if it's even possible, just the demonic form just sweats slightly at that statement of explanation, takes the head. Bobbit the bridge is still smouldering and on fire, right?
Yes. The fire is dying down a bit, but they still can't get through.
Wonderful. Well, in that case, Bobbit will take the head and will, since she has wings and can do so, will start flying outside towards
your new spectral
group.
wings. Your bat-like wings unfurl as you take flight. flying out
Just
of
like
the...
basically just hovering just above the fire and the smoke with the head in hand. I really wish I
You're
had
your leader.
Yeah, I really wish I had thaumaturgy to amplify my voice, because this would have been awesome. Anyone else have
I was just about to ask that. Anyone else have it?
No,
Anyone?
Not
Vesca?
stocked.
Vesca? Does
Vesca has it as a cantrip.
Can you please cast it to amplify my voice?
Vesca just looks around, her face wary, and she just nods and says, okay. And she raises her hand and whooshes it through the air, and your voice is amplified.
I run up behind Bobbit, and I ready an action to cast Burning Hands on the bridge at the crescendo of whatever Bobbit's going to say.
Oh, nice.
So when she's like...
All the flavour.
Yeah,
Bobbit, yeah, we're going full Broadway opening night with this shit, people. Places, people, we got a performance to make here.
And Zinhorn in snake form just comes around, pulling the rest of the body.
Bringing
While
broken
we're
barrels.
doing that, I want to...
And he just starts consuming it in front of everyone.
I want to remove the priest's head from that.
Yes,
No.
you can do that. You reach up.
Yes.
You reach up and lift the trophy off the wall, and you notice a screw on the back of the wooden backing, and you just smash your sword into the wood, snapping it in half, and the screw breaks off, allowing you to remove the head from the trophy backing.
Yeah, he will get a proper burial.
He will.
Oh, alrighty then. I suppose I best make this performance count. I don't have too long left in this form. So basically, Bolt will hover just over the towards the edge of where the fire is, just in case this runs out before she gets a chance to move back. We'll fly up high enough that the horde that's coming across the bridge can see her with the head in hand. Look out and just go, Knights of the... You call them the Holy... the
Metal
Order of the
Sabatons.
Sabaton. Knights of the Order of the Metal Sabaton.
They all look up at you, at first just shouting and brandishing their weapons. Then, as they notice what dangles from your hand, a hushed silence falls over the crowd, and you have their rapt attention.
Good. Your leader has chosen poorly. She believed her strength would conquer all. She believed this land would be hers. She was wrong. I will grant you one chance to take your order, scatter to the winds, never to return to this place. Do so, and you shall live to see the next dawn. Failure to do so, and you shall answer to your gods as to why you failed.
And with that,
And
Bulb,
that's when I use my Burning Hands.
Bulb raises his hands and sends out a plume of fire, which blasts away the front of the bridge, and broken, the bridge falls limp, and the people who are gathered on it begin to scream as they scramble for safety. However, only roughly half of them make it. The rest of them scream as they tumble down into the swampy water below.
Red crocodile.
I was gonna say, do you want to hear? I said, did anyone else, would I have to roll an intimidation or persuasion or something for all of that to see how many of these bastards piss off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or
Make
just
make an intimidation check with advantage, please.
Well, I'd like to think it's with advantage, considering I have the head of a damn leader, and holy shit, if that isn't in that goddamn 20! Oh, wow, that's fun. Bye now.
The members of the Order who are able to make it to dry land just take one last look at Demon Bobbit grasping Broken Barrel's head. It's at this point that Zinhorn rears back and uses the full strength of his python jaw to hurl Broken Barrel's headless body out of the front door of the hut, where it lands in a crumpled heap at the edge of the cliff. At this, they begin to scream and scatter into the settlement of Promise, scrambling as fast as they can for the ruins of Mezro to get the hell out of here. And as they do, you hear a series of loud splashes as those who weren't able to get off the bridge or are pushed out of the stilted settlement in the chaos of escape land in the water. And shortly after the splashes, more screams as the crocodiles that lurk below take their freely given prey.
So then, as that goes, Bullet's going to land, and I'm guessing a minute's passed since I cast that.
Yes, you could say that.
Lands back down, and sort of like smoke dissipates as the transformation wears off, and it's just Bobbit standing there now with the
just brushing off
severed head, just severed head in the hands, and just goes over to Ava, passes the head back, and goes, "I believe it's yours," and I'm gonna go sit down. That was something else.
Okay.
I would like to, if I can, gather any resources in this room and give it to my people.
Yes, you may make an investigation check, please.
Yeah, I might as well leave the treasure while we're in here. Yeah.
Snakes in.
That was an 18 plus. Where's my investigation? Plus 3. 18 plus 3.
3. So, most of the treasures that are scattered throughout the small hut appear to have been taken from Mezro, and you're about to start loading them up when you notice a small leather-bound book wedged underneath the stone throne. Get it out, and you open it, and flipping through it, you determine that it is Broken Barrel's diary. Most of it appears to be written in some sort of Goliath language that you've not seen before, but as you flip through it, the handwriting...
Speak giant?
Can anyone speak giant?
Damn it, I was...
Unfortunately, no, I didn't take giant.
It's okay.
No, but I only have comprehend languages,
As you flip through, and do you really want to burn a spell slot? Oh, I suppose you could do it as a ritual, but...
No, the comprehend language is only for spoken, I believe.
Yeah, you can't read with it, that's right. As you flip through the book, you notice the handwriting growing more and more chaotic and disjointed, until, eventually, on the very last page, Broken Barrel's giant has lapsed entirely, and she simply writes in common, "What curse befalls this city? Any treasure taken from the ruins vanishes into thin air. Very well. I shall make it all mine, and then I never have to leave."
Yeah.
Well, she's never gonna leave now.
Ava.
Well, she's not going to be able to come back either.
It is at this point, Ava, that you find yourself smiling in spite of yourself. There is a whispered legend amongst your people. They call it Golden Fever. There's a name whispered amongst your people, a story, a rumour of something that often afflicts travellers in Mezro. Your people, knowing better than to disturb the ruins of what was once a holy city, have never seen it with their own eyes, but so the legend goes that all of the treasure within the ruins of Mezro is merely an illusion designed to placate anyone who comes searching for answers as to the whereabouts of the missing inhabitants. Treasure that, when taken outside of the city walls, will vanish into thin air, corrupting all those who set their gaze upon this event with a merciless lust to spend the rest of their days hoarding more and more until they too perish within the city. And so...
Well then, we don't want this treasure.
Yeah.
We should probably also let those...
I will inform the others of this.
You also find some scattered notes and reports written by other members of the Order, to Broken Barrel, who was apparently conducting an expedition into Mezro. It seems that although she initially arrived searching for treasure under the orders of the Flaming Fist in Baldur's Gate, once she realized that her only opposition in the city was a group of Aarakocra and hordes of the undead, she set her sights on something greater, conquering the city and adding all of the treasure within to her personal hoard. After all, if she ruled over the city, she would never have to leave, would never have to witness the treasure vanishing. It would be hers for all eternity. However,
That's what she gets for being a greedy bitch.
However, in addition to this, she does express that one of her priorities is to discover the true fate of the citizens of Mezro. What happened to them and where they are, because where they are, she reasons, so too would be the real treasure of the city, and she would conquer all of it in the name of her tribe's ancestral god, Anam the All-Father, creator of the giants.
I was going to say, Bowen hears that part and just sort of goes, after hearing that, I'm kind of sad I didn't get to take a shot at her myself.
Amongst the scattered notes is a map of the ruins of Mezro, places that Broken Barrel has sent patrols to search for clues that would help her divine the fate of the city. Most of her expeditions have turned up nothing more than empty buildings, tales of monsters and despair, and yet more illusionary treasure, except for one place that has yet to be searched, circled on the map in red ink: the Temple of Ubtao. Thus concludes this week's session.
Snake Zinhorn just goes over to where Bobbit is sitting down and just curls up around her.
Yay.
Aww.
Mildly exhausted Bobbit pet the snake.
You each... Yep. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
was going to say, she will go ahead and explain what happens, but we can leave that conversation for next week.
Ava is a bit emotionally raw.
Hence why I gave you the head, so you can do what you wish with that.
You each receive an inspiration point. Ava, you may set your inspiration points total to 3.
What?
I'm giving you max inspiration.
Damn.
Oh.
Because that was some very cool role-playing. And in addition, as you have expelled the Order of the Metal Sabatons from Promise, you may take a long rest in what remains of Broken Barrel's hut.
Yeah.
Yay!
Thank God.
Before you resume your travel, before you resume your expedition into the city.
Oh, thank God.
But that will take place next week. Thank you everyone for joining us today on this late but oh so deserved session of D&D. This will be our final live stream on YouTube, as we are getting Twitch affiliate status, and so from now on our live sessions will only be streamed on Twitch. So if you want to watch us live, feel free to jump over to Twitch and join the cool kids there. But don't worry, all of our streams will still come to YouTube afterwards, and you'll be able to watch them pre-recorded. So, yes, once again, thank you to everyone who came and watched. Thank you to our new Twitch follower, Eva Leon Fangirl 31, who says greetings from Iceland. So, greetings from Australia. Iceland happens to be one of the countries I am most fascinated in. Would like to visit one day because I love Icelandic folk music. So
yes.
I use ice-type magic. Does that count?
I'd also like to thank Bagarticus for following. And thank you, and hello, and thank you to Ivy, who just dropped by to greet us all Sorry we didn't get a chance to chat, Ivy, but I'll be back tomorrow with some Resident Evil. Hopefully you'll tune in then, and we can have a nice conversation with each other. So, until next time, everyone, when you have that feeling that you just might be a murder hobo and maybe you should roleplay this out, toss caution to the wind because it may lead to a really awesome scene. Goodbye, everyone.
Also, don't insult birds.
Don't insult birds, yeah.
Don't fuck with the birds, man.
Snakes will come after you.
Don't fuck with birds.